America, America is Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, why did I say that? Because it's true. America is a wasteland of sexual sin. I tell you what, it's going to catch up to America. As a matter of fact, it already has. Now, let's talk about the different ways it's catching up to America. One is our military is, look. I'm ex-military, so I don't hate on the military. But I'm going to tell you this. The women can't keep up with the men. They can't. I'm ex-military. Listen, they've been trying this for a minute. For the women to keep up with us, they can't. Women cannot keep up with men on most things military. They can't. They cannot. They cannot. It's just not. And the reason why I say that is because they pitted us up against the females when we were in, Fort Dix, New Jersey. And, the women are right across from you guys. Their barracks is here, our barracks is here. And when it came to PT, they would go, okay, you guys are going to compete up against the girls. And the girls were like, yeah, we're all for it. And the guys were like, it's a girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't really want to do this, but, if they keep talking trash, then let's go. What they did was they had it was all non-contact, and basically it was all calisthenics. They beat us when it came to sit-ups. They beat us. When it comes to push-ups, though, when it comes to push-ups, and when it comes to running, there's no competition. Now, there are some fast and strong women out there, but we're talking about the average and the majority. And for this reason, our military is going to suffer if we keep pushing the narrative that, for one, that nobody knows what a woman is. Even Oxford is changing their text on what is a woman. It's somebody who has a natural born, ability to have children. That's what a woman is. She's naturally able to have children. A man cannot be a woman no matter what you put in them. And the more they push this narrative as if to say it's possible listen, you can go through all the transformations that you want to. You're never going to be a woman. You can take estrogen all you want to as a man. You're never going to be a woman. Caitlyn Jenner will never be a woman. Never. And I wish he would go back to being Bruce, but that's his choice. But America is pushing out, for one, there's no more God in school. Everybody's offended and triggered. There's no more God in school. When I grew up, you went into school, we actually said a prayer. You know what I'm saying? We actually admonished and admired God, and then we pledged allegiance to the flag, to America. Now, you can't do any of that. You can't do none of that. Everybody is individualized, doing their own thing. There's no unity in America, and that's another thing that's going to tear America asunder. All these other countries, you can say what you want about North Korea, but North Korea is one. They are one army, just like Game of Thrones. They're one army. They have one purpose. I don't like the way they're doing it, but there is one purpose. But you even have other countries, China, one. You know what I'm saying? When you look at Germany, when you look at, and I'm talking about today's Germany, you go over there, they have one frame of mind. When you look at other countries that don't have dictators and they have presidents, they're one frame of mind. Some Asian countries are like that. They have one frame of mind. If you go over to Thailand, one frame of mind. You don't hear people talking trash about the king in Thailand. It's not going to happen. One frame of mind. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of countries that are, the people are not struggling and bad things are happening to them. They're one frame of mind. And if you go into that country and you talk trash about that country, you're going to get escorted out of it if you make it out of there at all. America is a place where you can come and say anything about anyone at any time. And, boom, nothing happens to you. Well, the problem with that is there's no unity in America. So when it comes to speaking the truth about certain subjects, especially like, homosexuality and, compared to the gospel, people just crap all over it. When the scriptures read very clearly that, if you practice these things, you will not make it into heaven. So, if you look at Netflix, I was looking at a show on Netflix recently. I like animation. There was an animation that came out like Ex Machina. You know what I mean? Ex Machina was good. But there's another show that came out, and I was like, okay. And it was Dragon Age. And if you know anything about Dragon Age is video games, so they made it a animation. And I was like, okay, Dragon Age. I'm watching it, and there's a black guy, and then there's like a dwarf or whatever, and the black guy turns around and kisses the dwarf, and they're both male. I turned that thing off immediately. I'm like, I'm done. They also had two women who supposedly fell in love. They keep pushing the same scenarios, and it's an abomination to Christ. It's in Christ's eyes. God hates homosexuality. And now they're going after our children. Well, they've been going after our children. But listen, that whole thing with Balenciaga, that's not even the tip of the iceberg. And everybody's after Kim K because she isn't, denouncing them. No, she's part of the whole program. How many divorces has Kim K been through? And the scriptures read very clearly, God hates divorce. How many divorces have she been through? How many people have she been married to? Kim Kardashian is the most famous person on the planet. The most. Okay? She is being pushed by this agenda that these, Jewish people have. That's what they do. This is what they do. They pushed her to this pinnacle to have fake this, fake that, to show your body, show nakedness. Her people, they're very, very dangerous. And Kanye West was telling her, listen, I want to go and, do the whole thing with Christ. And she looked at him and she said, just because that's your journey doesn't mean it's mine. She has nothing to do with Christ, nothing to do with God. They want to practice godlessness. That's what they want to practice. And being that she is one of the forerunners of this godlessness that they practice, now you got men running around who used to, go out and fix things and build things up and go out and, construct things in beautiful ways with speed and build towers. Now these men are all limp-wristed. Now everybody's coming down against white men as if it's bad to be a white man. No, it's not bad to be a white man. It's a white man. So what? Even in Atlanta, when you look at one of the biggest problems in Atlanta, one of the biggest problems is there's a lot of homosexuals there. And the men who you think are not homosexuals are, actually on the DL. And so that's a huge problem for these women. And the knee-jerk reaction to that is these women can't find husbands to fit into the husband role. So what happens is if you pour more estrogen into the males and more masculinity into the females, you have this whole reverse that's happening, and it's tearing down your society. And now that's what you're seeing. You're seeing a collapse of society. These women have to be more masculine. You got more women that carry guns now than ever did. You got more women who have no etiquette whatsoever. They don't know what it means to be a woman other than their bodily functions. They don't know anything else because they have to be hard. They have to be ready for anything. They have to be able. I mean, you have more women who are going to the gym now and they're lifting heavy weight. As a matter of fact, the records show that men's tensile strength, which means the things our grip strength used to be 17 times more than a woman. Now that number is turning on its head. You have more women who are up and coming whose tensile strength is starting to be more than men. Now imagine that. Imagine seeing a woman that you're attracted to and you roll up on her and she shakes your hand and she's as strong as you are. I mean, you're going to be like, wait, am I doing something wrong? You're going to be, hold on. Like, how am I going to, hey, what's going on? Like, how am I going to, like, if let's just say that you're a man that doesn't go to the gym. You're just a man. You're just a regular man. Not everybody wants to go to the gym. Not everybody wants to be in this shape. Hey, what's going on, Terminator? Not everybody wants to be, not everybody needs that. I need to do this because I move around refrigerators. I move around appliances. I sold a dryer yesterday and I had to bring the dryer up the stairs from the basement myself and then had to deliver it. So, and then I had to bring it up twice because I bring it up the wrong way. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. I have to do that by myself. Sometimes I have to move refrigerators by myself. If I don't go to the gym and keep my strength up, I'm going to hurt myself. I found this out the hard way. Hey, what up? I found this out the hard way because I go to the gym, but I'm just like, I don't need to. I need to go to the gym or I'm going to hurt myself lifting around and moving around heavy stuff. Your muscles have to be ready for it. But let's just say you're an office working dude, you're a regular dude, you're just a dude. You know what I mean? You're chill. And you meet up with one of these women who are in the gym 5 days a week. Just a strong woman. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just a strong woman. And she can like pick you up like it's nothing. You're what, 200 pounds? She can just take you, hug you, and You're just seeing a lot of TikTok videos of women doing that to them. The men are going, hey, don't do that to me. But that's where we live at now. That's what's going on now. Everything's topsy-turvy. The women aren't running around like, ooh, frail, I can't. No, they're running around like, what happened? Something happens outside. You see a bunch of women come outside like, It is, the whole feminine thing. No, you might get 5 minutes of feminine out of a woman now. You might get 5 minutes of feminine out of a woman. And that's only when she wants to mate with you. Other than that, you can forget it. You can forget it. You got women who actually, because they've been in this gridlock of, the men aren't providing masculine energy, so I got to provide masculine energy. You got the women now who are like, okay, I don't want to do this, but I have to, but I really don't want to. And now they're going, okay, I want to be soft again. Now you have this whole soft era with women, especially black women, because they're trying to invite masculinity from men back into their house, back into their life. They're like, I'll submit because I don't want to go out here and compete with men. See, that's the biggest problem. There are a lot of women, they go to these gyms and they're strong and all this, but they don't understand the stronger you are, the less we look at you as a woman. And the less, and we don't know you. So if we look at you as someone who is unfeminine, and we don't know you, you don't know what's on our mind. If you show aggression towards us, You're not going to get the, I'm not going to do something because you're a woman. No, you're going to get what men get. You're going to get hit as hard as a man can hit you. And let's just face it, even though you go to the gym, the average woman cannot keep up with a man. She can't. She doesn't have our speed. She doesn't have our strength. And she doesn't have the innate ability to beat you down until you don't move. I explained this before. That's the way men are. When we fight, we don't want to fight you and you still have the ability to beat us up. We fight you until you can't move. This is most of the time. Men are, our mind is like, if this person can move, this person can harm us. It's just something that's in us. Females don't do that when they fight. They fight to embarrass you. They fight other women to rip off their clothes, to their hair. Even if they're throwing fists, you see, they still stop fights. It's usually in a stalemate. They're on the ground with some kind of jiu-jitsu, and boom, the fight's over. Watch a man fight. Usually somebody's laid out, somebody's walking away. That fight is over. That fight's usually over. So we have this whole thing with America that's tearing apart communities because, for one, America doesn't look at God as the head of anything now. And that's the way it used to be some 20, 30 years ago. God used to be the head. They think they can fight men. Some of them do think they can fight men. And listen, you got some women out there who could throw some blows. But they're not the average. So let's just say you got somebody who is a boxer, a female who's a professional boxer. And she goes up against an average man that doesn't know how to box. He steps into the ring. He steps into her world, right? This guy doesn't know how to box. She can, boom, take it to him. She might be able to knock him out. Maybe. There's a good chance not. But if he's an average fit male, there's a good chance he's fought on the street before. So she's going to be able to, hurt him, but I don't think she'll knock him out. If that role was reversed, that girl she might not ever get up. You see what I mean? It's a stark contrast to the differences. It's a trained fighter against somebody who's never trained in boxing before, but they know how to fight. They know how to protect herself. That woman, in boxing, you're okay. She might survive. But let her be on the street and those same people, and they get into a situation. On average, she's going to get hurt. And if he fights her with all aggression, like if she hits him one time real good, he's going to black out. He's going to be like, oh, that hurt. I've been hit by a woman before a couple times. And one time a girl hit me and I thought it was a guy. She cracked me in my face and I lost it. She had to call my name before I almost put her through the floor. I snapped out. I picked her up. I picked this chick up like, yeah. I was done. And she was like, she just called my name and she covered up. And I realized that it was a woman. And it was a woman I loved at the time. And I cried. I went in the other room. I just cried because it hurt so bad for this to happen. And she was like, look, I'll do anything you say. But she had to see that. She had to understand that if me and you really got into it, I will, listen, there will be nothing left of you. You can't compete with me on any physical level. But she thought she could because I'm a mild-mannered, Clark Kent until I turn into Superman. You know what I'm saying? But, and I have to fight with men. You know what I mean? And then you're going to come up and you're going to act like you can take me. You think I'm that much? She got the shock of her life. Because she found herself with her feet dangling in the air. And she's like, oh, what is, with, have her hair in my hand. She just did not understand what happened to her because it happened so quick. So quick. She was in the air and feet dangling. And the thing about it is, she was like 155 pounds, maybe 5'5". Bill, that same situation happened. I got into it with a dude. And the dude called me the N-word in a gas station. Some white dude. I was like, what you call me? And these people know me, but they know me to be I talk like this and I'm chill. And he called me the N-word. That was it. I snatched him up in front of his girlfriend, in front of my boss, in front of the clerks and other people in the store, and I lifted his whole body off the ground, and I had him by his neck, and I was like, what did you call me? And I lost it. I just, and they were all trying to hold me down. This dude is in the air, full-grown man. I'm like, and he didn't understand. You can't say that to everybody just because you live in the hood. But what I'm saying is, if that woman that I dated would have saw that, she wouldn't have even tried anything with me. She'd be like, you just picked up a whole man off his feet while people were holding you down, telling you to let him go, and he was still off his damn feet. No, I'm not going to do it. I realize I'm way stronger than you are, lady. I'm way stronger. And that's not bragging rights. That's just because I do physical things. I pick up physical things. See, but this lie that's perpetuated to men and women, like a man can be a feminine. He can run. He can create babies. He has a menstrual cycle. He can be go out. Fix something, go out, construct something, do some engineering, take that dress off, unless it's a kilt, I understand, or shrong, or, you know what I'm saying, there's some things that, I understand that, you know what I'm saying, but get rid of that dress and try to look at these movies that we're watching, some of these, listen, it's so bad that our superheroes are now noted homosexuals. Superman, one of the oldest, Superman is one of the first and oldest superheroes that kids, as a kid, you idolize, you're not supposed to, but you looked up to. Superman's one of the oldest. Guess what? They made up something called pink kryptonite. And you know what it does? Just take one guess on what pink kryptonite does to Superman. Turns him into a raving homosexual. I can't. You can't watch anything anymore, especially if it's on Netflix, without some man trying to give the other man, the business. It's just, and it's America. It's going this way. It's going down because you can't do that. Look, Russia is not playing. Have you seen what's going on in Russia lately? Do you know what Russia does on a daily? Let me educate you. Let me educate you what Russia does on a freaking daily. This is every day. This is their citizens. This is everybody in Russia. Every day they have nuclear bomb exercises. Every day. While we're sitting up here trying to debate what's a woman, try that in Russia. I dare you to go before the Kremlin and say, you don't know what a woman is. You will not come back. Try it. Go over there and talk that feminist garbage. Please, can somebody show me a transsexual that lives in Russia? Show me one woman that's running around thinking they're a man in Russia. Please try to take their kids from them. Call CPS. My kid in Russia. Yes, my kid in Russia thinks, that he is a boy, but I want him to think that he is a girl. Go over there and tell, yeah, go over there and do it. I double dog one of these stark raving feminist idiots to go to another country and try this. Please demonstrate how much you are correct on every level and saying that there's more than two sexes. Please show us. Please, I want you to, please. I just want to see how you come back with two black eyes, if you come back at all. Because Russia doesn't play that. Africa ain't playing it either. Africa is like, we're not going to change. Obama tried to sanction some countries in Africa because they wouldn't accept homosexual relationships. They was like, we're not doing that. You have your way of doing things. We have ours. We're going to stick to ours. You stick to yours. Obama was like, I'm going to sanction you. They're protected, and it's just one place that they're protected. But as soon as you women who lift all these weights, soon as you leave the country, nobody cares. Go to Burma, see what happens. Go to Belize, see what happens. Go to Ecuador, see what happens. Now listen, you got some people in Brazil, there you got lady boys over there. You got lady boys over there all day. In Brazil, there are men who are actually, women all day. That's what they do over there. They're over there trying to trap. They got that whole thing. That's not going too far. They don't do that in other countries. They do that there. Go to Russia. Russia is practicing. Listen, Russia is letting us know. They're putting the whole world on notice. We have more nuclear weapons than any of you. Than any of you. And you know something? China. Let's talk about China. Because China has geisha girls. Do you know geisha girls are actually men? But here's the thing about them. They are men that dress up as women with the stuff on their face and the kimono and all that stuff, but it's only on stage. Only on stage. As soon as they take that off, they are men. And you don't hear them talking about, you ain't going to hear a Chinese man talking about women are equal to men. No, you're not. You're not going to hear it. Because China is dividing and conquering right now. They're all in Africa building. Listen, China is so good at building, and they have so much money that China actually builds whole cities of skyscrapers, whole projects. The videos that they have of this. They have one of the largest malls you'll ever see. There's no one in it. No one, except the custodians. Custodian goes to work every day to a mall that no one is there. And the custodian cleans that mall. China has they built hospitals in 10 days, flat. When CV hit, they built a hospital in a week. A week! We can't even get the paperwork done to build a damn townhouse in a week. They built a hospital in a week. It's ridiculous of what they can do. You're not gonna have a bunch of men who think that they're women out there doing that. You're not going to do it. They're not even going to invite it. If a woman comes out there talking about, I'm just as strong. As a matter of fact, you're probably not going to see any women. They build whole skyscrapers, whole city. We look completely stupid. We look completely stupid. America looks like the laughing stock of the whole world right now. They're looking at us. Look at the military commercials for joining the military in Russia, and then look at the commercials for us. Their commercials. Let's just take our commercials. Our commercial starts off with a girl saying she has two mothers. That's the way it starts off. A girl saying, I have two mothers. That is the way it starts off. Well, Russia's start off, it starts off looking like the Navy SEALs. It starts off looking like they come out, here's men running through mud, coming out of the water, jumping over stuff. Standing next to a damn, MiG-29, big ass Sukhoi jet, letting you know this is the business. Listen, let me enlighten you. This whole thing with the Ukraine, right? Russia has lost a lot of their jets because America has been funding the Ukraine. And we've been shooting their jets down with these drones and surface-to-air missiles and M2A2 laws and all this other stuff. So we've been killing them. America has been killing them inadvertently. We'll send you stuff over there. We'll send you $9 billion worth, blah, blah, blah. And they're shooting them down because America wants them to be part of NATO, which is never going to happen. So Russia in the Kremlin is like, listen, I don't know what planet you guys are on, but if you really think I'm going to let you guys have access to the Black Sea, let's drink this in. Listen, the Ukraine helps build Russia's military equipment. Russia has one aircraft carrier that is in repair. It's got some issues. Yeah, Russia has one aircraft carrier. One. You know where it was built? In the Ukraine, in the Donbass area. Remember a couple months ago when it all started and they were showing videos of people who were trapped in the Donbass area? That's where they build these shipyards. That's where they have these ships at, and that's where Russia gets there. Do you understand how close they are? Ukrainians and Russians are pretty much the same damn people, just like people from Taiwan and people from China. Pretty much the same damn people. And you think that they're going to give us access. We're just going to go over there. We're going to send a bunch of money. We're going to send a bunch of military stuff. And you really think that a man who has more nuclear subs, more nuclear, we're just going to park right outside his door and sell wolf tickets? Are you out of your mind? Like, this is the most asinine thing I've ever even heard. If they need to get Joe Biden out of there and get Donald Trump in there and say, listen, we don't want nothing to do with the Ukraine. We're not sending them no more money. They're on their own. We don't want nothing to do with it. We're pulling all our ships back. We're sorry. Here's a couple $1 billion. We're sorry. We're out of here. Because if they push the button, it is lights out. And let's get this in perspective. We think we can beat Russia's ass. It's not the point. Russia needs to push one button. One. That's it. They're practicing pushing the button every day now. All of their citizens are practicing pushing the nuclear button. Listen, they're so serious that they have fallout shelters. Listen, back in the 60s and 70s, we used to do this. They used to have you practice getting up under, just in case of nuclear fallout. I mean, there's been all kind of, and now even here, have been some news reporters saying, look, especially in New York, in cases of nuclear fallout, this is what you do. No, we're so casual about it. We're casual. No, the whole country in Russia is practicing every day. They're not hiding up under a school desk. They have bunkers that they're building right now. Whole constructions. When's the last time your news came on and they said, this is how you build a bunker? Your news channel, your news, your local news said, this is what you do in case of a nuclear fallout. When's the last time you heard that? Never. You've never heard it. You never heard this. But what you did hear is, hey, we just sent $9 billion worth of equipment. What you did hear is we just sent all this other equipment to the very front door of someone who is taking world destruction seriously. We just sent $9 billion worth, and we're going to send another $40 billion worth of equipment to blow these people up and make this man angry. That's what we're doing. Not to mention the cutoff of the food supply. The Ukraine are wheat suppliers. Just to get this in your head, this is not a war that is just involving the Ukraine. It involves the whole planet. That's what the Ukraine do. They grow wheat. If you listen, they grow and they ship it. If they don't ship wheat to some other countries, there is a knee-jerk reaction to that, and it equals starvation. This is not a game we're in. This is not a simulation. It is the real deal, and it's happening right before our eyes. And if you just put two and two together, and let's go even deeper than that. We have submarines, right? We have our most noted submarines are Ohio-class submarines. We know that they're nuclear subs. This is what we have. We have Ohio-class submarines, and we have other class submarines out there. But when you look at the length and, what the Ohio-class submarine, how much water it displaces, it is hardly comparable to a Russian sub. The Russians have a sub that is a Typhoon class submarine. It's so big it has its own swimming pool. Okay? These things are huge and they cost a lot of money. Now, they did have one that was already active and they had one on standby. You're just sitting in the shipyard. Guess what? That one's active too. And these are nuclear subs. Nuclear. Okay? So, they did a demonstration where the Russians wanted to see if they could get one of their subs within striking distance of the United States. And they did just that. And the thing about it was the US didn't even know that there was a nuclear sub right off their coast within striking distance, meaning if they came to launch depth, they can boom. Because those missiles only travel so far. So they have to get so close. Well, they actually did that. They didn't even know it was there until it left. Russia has a ship that sits 30 miles off of our coast and watches us. It's in neutral waters, 30 miles off of our coast. We do not want no part of this. And as a U.S. soldier, you know, I used to be. Look, I know our U.S. soldiers are badass, but we are not mentally ready like they are. They may beat us, or they may not beat us, but the mental stability of the American people is nowhere in compared to the Russians. We get a scratch on us, we want everybody to know about it, and we want a medal for it. They get a scratch on them, they brag about it. They look forward to stuff like that. We're not built like them. Most of our country isn't a frozen tundra. Most of it isn't. And here's the thing, if you go up near, it's not Hawaii, it's near Alaska, Russia's right, like, I mean, they just had people defect from Russia to an Alaskan town. 50 miles was all the separation between Russia and the town that they went to. But the waters they had to cross are deadly and tumultuous. We're really close. We're really close. Like there could be a nuclear strike from even there. They can take those people off the map. It's crazy. Unfortunately, we're basically in open their pinpoint tunnel. Listen, it is so. See, I like watching technology videos. I like watching old conflicts, listen to what happened. And I like seeing the development of airplanes, all this other stuff that they can do. I like all that stuff. But I know that it will take very little for this whole world to go up in smoke. Now, I know it's not going to, but there could easily be a nuclear war in 5 minutes from now. Easily. And it doesn't necessarily have to come from Russia, but if we keep poking that bear, look, we already know biblical that the eagle and the bear are going to go at it. We know Russia is going to do something, but we keep provoking them and we're on their front door. Why? Why do we want to do this? This makes no financial sense. It makes no sense whatsoever why we're doing this. Why do we want to see this war? Not to mention Taiwan. Taiwan is our ally, but guess what? We want to go over there and, why couldn't we leave Taiwan alone? Because China is just like, listen, you guys are not going to come and control the South China Seas. Just because Taiwan is in NATO, all of a sudden, no, we're going to blow Taiwan off of the map. We're going to dust them. If you guys think you're going to set up nuclear, no, we're not. We're not doing it. You're not going to be a nuclear range of us and all this other stuff. And then, no, you're not doing it. China's like, no. Like we're just itching to blow millions of people up. And I don't understand it. I don't know what we're getting out of killing millions and millions of people, because that's what's going to happen. If China decides to take Taiwan, we are going to go into it's going to be a nuclear attack, because this is what's going to happen. China's going to try to take Taiwan. Taiwan's going to fight back like hell. But China is mainland China. For one, there's two parts of China. There's a small, country of China, island, and then there's mainland China. Listen, mainland China wants to get into it, which they're going to dust you. They're going to dust you, and that's it. We don't have So here's what America thinks. America thinks because we have the technological advance over China, and we have more nukes than they do, that they're not as big a threat as we think. It's like you're high as hell. You're high as hell. As for one, China is the best reverse engineers on the planet. Let's just get that out there. When you lost your F-35 over there that fell into the water off of one of your aircraft carriers, guess who was out there trying to get it? China. And you did everything so China didn't get it. You know why? Because they're gonna reverse technology on that F-35, and they're gonna figure out one of the most crucial things to America is our radar systems. This is why the 22 and the 35, the F-22 and F-35 are so important. It's because of the radar systems. Listen, Lockheed Martin builds the F-35, the F-22. But the American government stopped them from building it. They said, okay, what we really want to do is we want to order 200 of these. But once they got up to like 120, they said, you know what, we're not ordering anymore, and you can't make it anymore. Because they didn't want it sold to the enemies. Because it gives us an advantage. They're like, no, you're not about to sell the F-22 Raptor to Iran. Like, that's not going to happen. And if China gets a hold of it, it's a wrap. Or Russia? Absolutely not. So the F-22 and the F-35 have to contend with Sukhois and MiGs. MiG-29s and Sukhois by Russia, and then you have the J-20. Like this bullcrap Tom Cruise movie that they just had out. And I likes the Tom Cruise, but an F-15 going up against a J-20, you're high as hell. A fifth-generation fighter, even a fourth-generation fighter going up against a dinosaur. The F-15 is a dinosaur, even though they don't want to get rid of them. Listen, it's a dinosaur. It's fast, it's strong, but it is nothing compared to the F-22 and the F-35 and the J-30, or the J-20. That J-20 will blow that thing out of the sky. It's just, we're just so full of ourselves. And this is hubris. It's the same thing that killed Rome. We think that we can do whatever because we can afford it. $700 billion goes into our military. What good is your military going to be when you have a bunch of stark raving homosexuals who believe that men can be women and women can be... What good is it going to be with that type of confusion? Where people don't know who and what they are. What good is a good military going to be when the government is taking your child. When you deal with people in China, they don't have women that argue with them. You ever see an argument in China with a woman? You know what they do to those women when it gets a little crazy? Oh no, you need to look at World Star Hip Hop. You you need to look at World Star Hip Hop if you want to question how the women treat the men in China. Yeah. Because the police will see a man knock a woman's ass out in the street, busy street, and will drag her across the street. The only thing that cop cares about is the traffic. That's it. That's the only thing that police officer cares about. He'll escort. He'll help escort. He'll be like, he'll just go this way, like he's directing traffic. He'll be like, get her out the street. Get this woman out the street because we can't stop traffic for her. Nobody gets out the car with cell phones. Nobody gets out and calls the feminazis. Nobody gives a damn. Because those men have to get things done. Listen, when I was talking about their skyscrapers and these whole cities that they build, you know what's really something about these cities that they build? For one, they have to do it for economic reasons. They have to spend the money. Do you know what happens to these cities? They're all empty. All these places that they build, huge skyscrapers and stuff, housing for they're all empty. The city itself, empty. It had to be built though. It's all empty. The mall, empty. There's nobody there. And you can go there. It's not like you can't go there. You can go there, film, walk around. It's all empty. And then eventually, you know what they do? Yeah, but it's not like something happened there. It's not like Chernobyl happened there. They had to build it because they had to spend that money. And I'm talking about vast skyscrapers, huge apartment, and they're all apartment buildings is what they are. Like, 10, 15 stories. After a while, they go and they tear them all down and they build new ones. That's how rich China is. They are rich. They are getting things done. When's the last time you heard about China invading someone? You don't. What you hear about China is China bribing people. It's not really a bribe. What China does is they take their finances and they go to poor countries and they say, we'll help fix your country if you will give us the land. You don't hear about the Chinese going invading people and blowing people up. You don't hear about Afghanistan. The Chinese invaded Afghanistan for oil. The Chinese invaded the Middle East. You don't hear nothing about that. You don't hear nothing about it. The Chinese went into Africa and they go to Africa. The way they do it is so smooth. You know how they have these huge, world leader meetings? The Chinese goes and listen to these meetings. And they listen to the complaints of, presidents who don't have any money for one reason or another. And then they approach them and say, hey, look, we know you don't have the money. We know your people are starving. We know you got, your infrastructure is down. We'll tell you what, we'll loan you, let's say, $20 billion? We'll loan you $20 billion. We'll go ahead and build your infrastructure. We'll build your roadways. We'll build your waterways. We'll build your aqueducts. We'll build your whole infrastructure to get you back to where you are with very little interest. There is interest, but there's very little interest. We'll do this, but what we want is your land. They're doing that to Africa right now. You know what they're really looking for? Gold and people. Now, are they committing crimes? Yes. Yes, because the older men are sleeping with the younger girls. And I mean girls. I don't mean women. I mean 12, 10, 11. So they're over there knocking off those girls because these girls are poor. My parents aren't saying anything. Well, they're saying something, but they're going over to snatching farmland. That's what the Chinese are doing now. It's a terrible thing because even the black people that are working for these railroads, what the Chinese government does is they will not show them in their propaganda pictures. They pay the black people who live there less than what they pay the workers from China that come over there. They will not let the black people drive the trains. They definitely mistreat the black people. So, I mean, there's going to be a civil war that's going to happen eventually. There's going to be an uprising because you're only going to do so much of that. You're going to bang somebody's daughter and that guy's going to shoot you. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I mean, it's a powder keg right now. And, you know, I've already seen incidents where Chinese have tried to stab a guy with a stick because the guy slapped him. You know, and the Chinese thought he could do what he wanted. And the African was like, you out of your mind. There's even videos where the Chinese just roll up on some farmer's land and start digging, and the farmer will come out pissed as hell because the Chinese figure all of this is ours. I mean, they're set up real nice over there. Really, really nice. And then they have one guy, of course, there's a lot more of them, where they have all of these African children. And they're all standing there, and they're all, you know, beautiful, and they're taking pictures of them. And what they're doing is they're taking videos of them, and they're having the African children say Chinese words. And what the Chinese words are really saying, and the children are saying, is yellow skin is better than black skin. That's going on right now. And they send the video back to China. And the Chinese people are going, that's right. Yellow skin is better than black skin. Black people, yeah, black people are stupid. I am stupid. That's what these kids are saying, but the kids don't know that they're saying it. Look at Vice. Vice did a report on it. So they went looking for the dude who's doing this. He's not the only one. And this is big propaganda in China. China thinks that black people are less than they are. They're like, you guys are not as good as we are. And we're like, on what level? We've been invaded since we've been. You guys have been invading us. The Europeans, the French, the Dutch, you guys have been invading and killing us like we don't stand a chance. And when we don't do what one of you say, you sanction us, then you poison us, then you cause wars over here. No, like the Europeans are never going to take their foot off of Africa's neck. They're never going to do it. So it's like, China, we don't even have the same opportunity you do. We don't. We don't have a standing army. In all of Africa, how many submarines do you think the African nations have collectively? How many nuclear weapons do you think the African nations have collectively? You can't name me one African fighter jet. But I'm going to tell you where the fighter jet comes from. They come from old Soviet era, that's what I'm saying. They got ships. They got a couple, I mean, Have you ever seen the African Navy? It's there. You ever seen it? They don't have any. I mean, it's crazy. They don't have any. Exactly. They don't have any. There's some African nations who have some airplanes. They're very old jets, old Soviet era jets, old F4 Phantoms. That's what they are. They're Phantoms. They're very old. But if you go to South Africa, you're going to see that they're stocked. They have a couple F-35s. But you know why? Because the white people over there. When the white people leave South Africa, they're going to take all the F-35s with them. That's because they have a standing army over there to keep their foot on Africans. Yeah. So it's like, China, you're not better than African people. Let all the white people leave out of Africa. Tell all the Europeans to leave out of Africa and don't send over here no diseases, because y'all been killing us with diseases since, Ponce de Leon. Tell all the white people to leave. Take your control, your influence, and leave. They're not going to take their foot off of Nigeria or the Congo. The Europeans influence Nigeria today because Nigerians have what? Oil. Nigeria is one of the most corrupt countries there is. But they got that oil. They're not going to let that go. They're not going to let that go. They don't even need the oil. They can get the oil from right here. There's plenty of oil here. But they want to keep their foot on Africa to keep the Africans in their place. One day all that's going to change, but it ain't going to be anytime soon. They know better than to let Africa get up and start doing this thing. There's always going to be civil war in Africa started by white people. It'll always happen until it doesn't. Like Rwanda has been rebuilding and all that other stuff. Things are starting to take a change, but only a matter of time before you hear about another civil war in some country in Africa. And I guarantee you that the weapons that they have will all be European. You tell me one gun that's made in Africa. One. M16? Nope. Smith & Wesson? Nope. Heckler Koch? Nope. Nope. You can't think of one. Because most of them are made by European nations. You can't think of one. And because there is no such industry, or it's not as widespread, you got countries that can't defend themselves. You got whole continents that cannot properly defend themselves against any European nation. Look at what's happening in Haiti right now. You have Russians in Haiti right now. You have Russians over there, and you have Americans over there. Why? Why do we have warships, gunships over there right now? You know why? The oil. They're all fighting over the oil. Right now, today. They're all fighting guns, tooth and nail, over the oil. There are soldiers from different countries in Haiti completely ignoring the fact that it's not their country. Imagine if Haiti could protect itself like they used to. At one time, the French used to get their slaves from Haiti until the Haitians revolted. When the Haitians revolted, the French came back with warships and surrounded Haiti. And they said, you cost us millions of dollars. You either pay up or we're going to destroy all of you. So they entered into a deal with the French. I think it was the French, yeah. They entered into a deal with them to pay that money back. That's why Haiti is so poor. Because they're getting robbed, they're getting raped every day. Right now. It's been happening for years, for hundreds of years. Haiti can't catch a break. And they're just stealing from them. And even the children are like, give us back our land. And they're taking the children. Like, people think slavery ended. Slavery never ended. They're like, oh, the English and the Americans are the ones who said abolish slavery. It's just like, you guys didn't abolish slavery. Oh, Abraham Lincoln abolished slavery. The Republicans abolished slavery. No, you guys didn't. You guys didn't do that. That's a lie. You never abolished slavery. You never did. You never did. You never abolished slavery. Because if you go over there where Omar Gaddafi was from, right now you'll see that there are slaves there. Millions of them. Right now, today. Same thing with Haiti. They were taking those children and they were making them indentured slaves. Right now. They're doing it right now. When Haiti had that earthquake, it unearthed more than the earth. What happened was the so-called Christians went over there and they were like, we're going to help the children. So they did. So they took a bunch of children and they bring them back here and they sold them. Right here in America, it's happening. And the people who obtain these children, one individual, him and his wife, built a closet bedroom for the child. And the child would come out of the bedroom and clean all day. And when company came, the child had to go and hide back into the closet bedroom. Little girl, it was a little girl. Where do you think the F Island with Epstein, where do you think those kids are coming from? You think those are little white babies, little white? No. They're not all white. A lot of them are people from Haiti and people from Africa, little girls and boys from Africa. They need these countries to stay poor so they can commit their crimes. That's why they knocked Epstein off. Because he's connected. Listen, they just found out that Epstein was connected with Saudi Arabia. The Saudis. Epstein. In the Saudis. I mean, just drink this in how wealthy Epstein was. He was a billionaire. Now, the story they told you about him and his, I don't even know what she was, concubine, and how she used to go out and get these 14-year-olds. Those girls that Epstein was getting, those girls were all Americans. They were white Americans in different colors. Hey, certain parts of Africa and slavery, yeah, it still exists. So they was getting those girls from Americans. Those girls lived right next door to you. They were 14 years old. And the thing about it is, the girls would tell the other girls, they would be like, hey, I just went to Miami. And you know how they got, that certain part of Miami that's affluent. And I went to this billionaire's house. And I had to stand before him with no clothes on. Me and other girls. And we played with his nipples and rubbed on his body. And then he paid us a good amount of money. And boom, we came home. 14. Some of these girls were recruiting other girls. And these girls were all getting paid to do this. Not only that, These girls, well, it wasn't really, that's not what it was. Because he didn't sleep with these girls. Yeah, 14 years old, that's a minor. But the thing about it is, he wasn't, of course he was with some of them, but that wasn't the main story that came out. These girls weren't saying, I was sold into prostitution, or he made me do. You didn't hear any of those girls do that. All the girls that testified, you didn't hear any of them say that. When this happens to girls, it's against their will. And they're like, this guy did this to me, or this woman made me do this. No, you didn't hear none of that about Epstein. What you heard was, we get into a car, we go across the bridge, we go to his house, we take all our clothes off, and we would touch him. He would touch us. He would say things to us. We'd give him a massage. We'd put our clothes back on, and we were out. And girl after girl said the same thing. They're like, how did you get to know? Well, I got to know her through my friend. A lot of those girls are right there in Miami. Right there. This is happening right here. Right here. Just recently, there was a girl, African American girl, who this just happened. She's 11 years old. And she was on Instagram talking to a 22-year-old man. And you would think this is some Catch a Predator stuff, right? You're like, this is only Chris Hansen. No, this stuff is really going on. And he was talking to the girl. And the thing about it was, the girl was like, yeah, I want to meet you. This is a full-grown man. As a matter of fact, it was two men. 11 years old. She packed her bags and met with a grown man who picked her up. Boom. Sailed off with her. And the mother's friend, I don't know who she was to her, was like, please come home. They hit media. And they were like, please come home. Please come home. And they made, they cried loud, which they should have did. The girl came home in a couple of days. She's back home. These little girls are running away from their parents. And this thing is out of control. It's crazy. But you'd be foolish to think. For one, you'd be foolish to think that this is men that are doing this. A lot of these girls are getting duped by women. That's for one. For two, you'd be foolish to think that, for one, and all of a sudden every man is a bad guy now. Now, if you're doing stuff like that, yeah, you're a bad guy. But I'm saying now every man is bad in America. Men are bad. You're hearing women say this. Men are bad. This happened to me when that was you and that one guy. It had nothing to do with the rest of men. But now all men are bad. And now when you look at it, you're going, wait a minute, Brittany Samora is a female. She's a high school teacher. She was getting knocked off by a 13-year-old boy. Let's drink this in. Brittany Zamora is an attractive 30-ish woman who is very, very, very married. Very married. Very married. This 13-year-old boy said she would call me in a room after all, kids are gone, and there would be a kid watching out for them because he knew what was going on. He said she would turn around, lift up her dress, and he said he would get right up in there. Just a 13-year-old boy. This thing is way bigger than anybody can imagine. Way bigger. It's way, way, way bigger. And men aren't the enemy. Everybody is in on this craziness that's going on around the world. Yeah. But women think that they are not in this whatsoever because women are the shining light of you hoes are ridiculous. And you're criminal and you're nasty. You hoes are in on it too. You're in on it. You're at home jacking off these little boys. You, you single mothers. You married mothers. You white women. It's a mess. It's a mess because the white women swear that they're just there. They got the coochie of gold. It's just like white women. Listen, if you look at every single one of these cases, it's a white woman. Excuse me, 95% is a white woman. They even had this one woman who was a single mother. No, she wasn't a single mother. What she was doing was her little girl was around that age, 13, 12, 13. And she was inviting her friends over. And as soon as one of them was a little boy, the mother was running around the house half naked. And then she would trap the little boy and say, bend over and say, hey, come get this. And the little boy, being a little boy, he'd be like, hang on, let's go. And she was screwing all the little girls, her little friends, until the little girl said something. The mother was gonna keep getting her freak on with these 6th, 7th graders until the little girl spoke up and was like, Mom, what the hell are you doing? The little girl busted out her mother for doing it. Just drink that in. Just absorb that. C to the CC to the C, CC, up in this piece. What's happening, C? What are these people? Horny. The little girl told on the mother. Because once a mother got away with it once, twice, 3 times, it was over. That mom was on a tear. And she was using the little girl as bait. She's like, you gonna invite Tommy over today? Hey, you know what? Jason can come over if you want. Tell Derek he can come over too. They had one school teacher who was getting a train ran on her by nothing but black students. You know how she got caught? There was one white student who wanted some ass. She told the white student, no, only black boys. That white kid was like, got you. He was like, all right. Not a problem. Cops busted her right out. And these kids was knocking this white teacher off every day, training this chick. Every day. She would go into work and get lit up by young black boys. Every day. She is white. Isn't that other white teacher? What about the other white teacher? She was knocking on. This is one of my favorites. She was so crazy. This white teacher was knocking these kids off. They were white kids, right? She was knocking these kids off, right? Left and right. She was doing it on rooftops of the school. She just didn't care. You know, when she got in the court, she was like, I'll do it again. She was like, I'll do it again. One teacher was knocking off this kid, and they so-called fell in love. The teacher gets fired. She goes and lives with her dad. She's still contacting the boy. Like, yo, wasn't that good? Let's go ahead and hook up again. After the court said you cannot have contact with this minor, she was like, you out your damn mind. I'm about to get that. Mary. Or what about the other teacher was knocking off these little black boys in the hood? She couldn't help it. She's like, I gotta have that little boy 14. She was knocking them boys off. You should see that teacher. She was stone cold. Mary, her husband came out. He was like, I support her. I'm okay with her. I love her. I support her. You know, so what? She was getting the train ran on her by 14-year-olds. I don't care. 14-year-old black boys who are poor as dirt. So what? That's my wife. I love her. And that was the end of it. Man, they gotta be kidding me when these white women get to talk about how men are terrible. I'm like, y'all not keeping up with the news. And then I don't trust suburban white women. I don't. I don't trust suburban white women. I don't go, oh my God, suburban white women are the epitome of what life should be. I watch out for all of them. I look at the news. I'm watching them running over husbands with their vulvas. I'm looking at all y'all skeptically. Like you just ran that man over 3 times. 3. I'm just telling y'all, America is Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm watching them do stuff. Shoot, I'm 55. I don't be wanting to go outside. I don't be wanting to go outside. I keep thinking I want to go out and meet people. I don't. I don't be wanting to meet people. I think I need to stop being a hermit. I'm like, you don't know who's a woman. Look, I don't know who's a woman. What city you live in? You don't know who's a woman. Oh, Harrisburg. Yeah, I'm from Pittsburgh. Home of the chocolate, right? But you don't know who's a woman. You can't define a woman. But you don't know who's a woman now. You can't define a woman. You don't know if her tits are real. Are those real tits? You have to ask, are a woman's tits real? And her ass. Is your ass real? You don't know what's going on in there. You're like, you get to ask them about the last boyfriend, and it's a whole story that you don't want to hear. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and pass. Mm, that's a lot. That's a lot. Ooh, y'all went through that. You know what? I mean, you don't know who's a woman now. How you supposed to navigate and get a wife? Can't jack off the rest of your life. God ain't with that. Like, Lord, I need a wife. And then you're like, I don't know if I want to get married. The divorce rate, black women are cheating on you with your friend, your homie, your dad, your uncles. I was one black chick, she told me, she said, when I was 16, I went over my boyfriend's house and he wasn't there yet, but his dad was there. And his dad was like, you ever been with an old man? She said no, so she banged him. I said, how many men have you been with? She said 172. She's a black woman. She said, I've been with 172 men. And this was 10 years ago. She waved. Here's a black woman who said this to me, right to my face, like she was proud of it. 172. I was like, oh. I don't think she was 30 when I met her. Can you imagine? She wasn't bad looking either. Kev, what are we doing? It's very tricky. What are we doing? 172 men. You're a porn star. Just walking around, legs open every 5 minutes. Just saying, look, you guys, if you need to, you can just come over here and just, release some steam. It's okay. Well, hey, mister, how you doing? I'm doing good. You okay? Have you had a little fun lately? Nah, I'm in my 40s, women don't come around that much anymore. You know what? I got you. We can just go right over here behind the Chevy and drop trowel. Go ahead and get one in. Go ahead. There you go. You good now? You know what? Thanks. Hey, no problem. Tell your friends that, it's available. I got a bunch of friends. I got, you know what I have? I got this. They want it. Tell them to call me. I'll be back around. I'll be here tomorrow. Tomorrow at 2. Yeah, tell your friends. All 10 of them. Women are really like that now. That's what they're like now. That's what they're like right now. They're like, what, 5, 6 of you? Let's go. I personally know girls who've done this in high school. And no, not even in middle school. I know people who've done this and they weren't even in middle school. And they were like, there were 5 of them, 4 of them, 5 of them. Yeah, I took them all on. This is what we're up against. That's what I'm saying. It's Sodom and Gomorrah. It's like, and look, as a man, look, I understand. We have the constant urge to procreate. So, it's not easy for us to, have an available way to constantly, like if men could constantly be able to get it out and be okay, no fighting, no court, no police, no jail, no death, no cheating. I mean, the world would run a lot smoother, but it doesn't work that way. It doesn't. Listen, God even tells you sometimes you got to take a chill. Like when you're fasting and praying, God is like, hey, you can't. Just for this week, for the next 20 days or whatever, you're like, I'm married to this woman. Do you look at her? You look at young Felicia Rashad. Are you kidding? You looking at Lisa Bonet in her 20s? Are you kidding? And I can't. He's like, nope. I'm I want you to pray. No. Talk to me. I'm like, can I go stay somewhere else? No, you gotta stay right there. Do I have to sleep in the same bed with her? Absolutely. It hurts. But even the Lord is like, nope, sometimes you gotta take a break. You know, can you imagine a young Daryl Hannah? Like, wait, what? What are we, Lord? What are we, come on. What are you talking about here? I'm married to a Vicky Secrets model who's hot for me. And you're telling me I can't, for the next, he's like, hey, do it or lose it. You're like, you know what, fine, let's go. What do you got? What do you got, Lord? What do you got? Come on. Let's talk about it. Because I'm 40. This right here, this don't happen much. What do you want me to do? What do you want to, Lord, what do you want to talk about? What do you got? Politics? What? Who did it? What? I'm 55 now, so I got hit on by a 21-year-old. I was just tired just talking to her. I was tired. I was exhausted just for the conversation. I was looking at her like, what? My daughter's older than you. She was generally interested in me. I had a 20-year-old too. She was like, you know, here's my number. Call me maybe. I was like, nah, I don't think I'm going to call you, but thanks for the hug. She gave me a hug, gave me 2 of them. Oh, thank you for, oh, honey. I almost gave her a $20 bill because she hugged me. Oh, that hug was so good. I almost, here, I got 2 quarters around here somewhere. I got 20 cents around here somewhere you can have. Good. Sheesh, girl. I'll pay for it. Don't worry about it. Here's just $20. Whew. You just had to take it. Oh my God. Oh, a 20-year-old body. Oh my God. Damn. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Here, go buy yourself some, I don't know, a ham sandwich or something. There you go. Run along. Get out. Run along. Get out. Get out. Get out. Don't bother me no more. But thanks for the hug. 20 years old, what am I going to do with a 20 years old? Except watch her walk around the house. Like, I can't marry her. I can't. 20. You got this one pastor. He's a pastor. He's like 45. He just married an 18-year-old, and he threatened people. He was like, listen, all you women out there who got something to say, if you come up to my wife and say something, I promise you, I will retaliate against you. I'm not going to sit down and let you talk about my wife. She's 18. He said, she's a grown woman. She's 18. And I agree with him, but I don't agree with him. I was like, no, homie, I'm not 18 or nothing. Only thing an 18-year-old can do is bring me my DoorDash. That's it. 18? I can, ain't no. Boy, how long you think that's going to last? Nah, you bring DoorDash, ding dong. How old are you? 18? Bless your heart. Here you go. Here's your tip. Thank you. Ain't. He married her. Man, ain't no way. Now, if he was 26, 27, I could almost see that. He still understands her music. Their children are going to, when they grow up, when the children are older, you're not going to be geriatric. You'll still be able to play ball with your kids or whatever you're going to do. I can 26, 27, maybe 30. I can get with that. But 40, 45, I mean, listen, you're going to be sniffing her ass all day, but I guarantee you she's going to bore you. Because she's, I don't know. I don't know. It's just, you're going to get tired of her. You're going to want to sleep. She's going to want to party. Eventually, she's going to find herself somebody in the 22, 23. She's going to cheat on you with him. He's going to be wearing her out. And there ain't nothing you can do. Because you're married to her now. And you didn't have a prenup. She's going to take your assets. She's going to kick you out if you have a child. You're going to lose your house. She's going to move her boyfriend in, and he ain't going to be no good. He's going to be a piece of trash of a piece of trash. And he's just going to be he's going to be stronger than you. He's going to be faster than you. He's going to be taller than you. He's going to have a 10-inch banger. And she's going to be FaceTiming you while he's doing her from the back. And your little girl is going to be over there in the corner watching the whole thing. It's going to be bad. It's like, nah, hell no. Nah, I'm good. Your little 3-year-old daughter is going to be watching the whole thing go down. Nah. Get the... No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that, homie. It's bad out here. You better get yourself a 35-year-old, call it a day. Hope she got a bad knee. You may get one of them girls who's been questioning herself. You may get one of those. She ain't having no more babies, or she don't know if she can. She was about to freeze her eggs until you came along. Get one of those. Got to go to in vitro visits with her. Be like, okay, yeah, because you probably got it out your system. You probably done hoed when you was 22. You done hoeing. You hoed for about 7 years. You got to ask the chick that. You got, hey, how you doing? Fine. What's your name? Okay, yeah, you beautiful. Hey, you done hoeing? What you mean? I mean, are all your hoe years over with? I just want to know. If she gets all offended, I can't believe, just walk away. Be like, oh, okay. Yeah, you're not, because the answer is no, she's still hoeing. But the woman goes, you know what, I am done. Yeah, I'm done. I don't want to live like that no more. What you talking about? That's the chick, she's honest with you. Yeah, I'm done hoeing. I was a hoe for a while. I'm not hoeing no more. What's up? What we got going on? Girl, let's go. Let's go half on a... You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest. Let's go. You know what we're going to do? We're going to go talk to a marriage counselor and a divorce lawyer. That's what we're going to do. We're going to pay both of them. I got what, $2,000? You got $2,000? Boom, that'll cover it. We're going to talk to a marriage counselor and a divorce lawyer. We're going to, boom, talk about, we're going to get it all out. And then, boom, I'm 44, you're 35. We're not having no kids. We're done now. But if I know a woman, she is 45. Well, she is 40. She just had a kid. Her husband is 63. I know her personally. I've known her for years because I used to date her girlfriend, her friend that's a woman. Back when she was 27. I'm a little bit older than she is. Yeah. So, yeah. 63. Little boy is 2 years old. And I just saw him. I saw both of them at the grocery store. I was like, hey, she was like, Jenny. I was like, oh yeah, Jenny. What? I was like, huh? How old is she? She's like 40. I was like, how old is your husband? She's like 63. Y'all just had a baby at 60. He's 63, but she 40. You can't be mad about that. You like, hey. She actually has a daughter who's in her, she's gotta be 20 by now. She might be older than that. So yeah, she's older than 40. I think she's like 45 or something. Just had a baby 2 years ago. And still looks damn good. Jenny always looked good. Still looks damn good. But 18, bro. Shit, you better ring my door and keep going, because I mean, all you can be is Santa Claus to somebody like that. Buy her gifts, watch her walk around in, pair of boy shorts, in a dish towel. You just can't. You're not gonna marry her. You're sinning. Is this sin? Is this a sin? It's God now. You look in the Bible. You grab your Bible. Can I watch a woman walk around in boy shorts and there it is right there. The word. You gotta go. You gotta get out. I'm gonna miss you. Look at those kneecaps. Well, don't make kneecaps like I do. Look at. Jeez. Especially one of these girls that used to be a high school athlete, ran track. You're just mad as hell because you're old now. Don't even mess with it. Just gotta watch her walk all the way to the car because you ain't gonna see her no more. Just shut the door, pissed off, because now you gotta spend more years by yourself. By yourself, wishing you were young and virile. Then your wife comes along, she's 40. Got that one injury from lifting weights yesterday. All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. You know what I mean? You both need back massages every day just to get up and go to the next day. You know what? I'm going to grow old with you. Older. Yeah, I'm okay. But you ain't going to keep up with no 20-year-old. She's going to be bouncing around the house. Yeah. Yeah. I done had a couple 20-year-olds trying to shoot younger than that. I done had some 18-year-olds. I was like, no, you're too young. Go play. Like I want you, ride a bike or something. That's all you can do. Like go outside and I don't know. Go dance. Go do something. I'll watch. Yeah, I'm watching. Yeah. I'm going to bed. But that's all you can do, man. You got that one actor, he's in his 60s. He just married a 28-year-old. Who's that guy? The black guy. Forgot what his name was. The one who played Heimdall. The Asgardian who has the key to the portal. The black guy who played Heimdall. Or the one that's in that last movie with The Rock. Not Shazam. Oh, bro. I met a 17-year-old. I thought she was in her 20s. And I took her out. I was about to take her out. I was about to take her out until she told me how old she was. And she just saw the look on my face, and I did an about face on her ass. When I tell you she was naturally beautiful, the thing about it is, I saw her a couple of years ago. She's with a man older than me, dark skinned, tall, just like me. I thought she was playing when she says, "Come on, let's go have some children together." At 17, that's what she said to me. I was like, "You're too young." She saw me again at 18 and was like, "What's up now? Can we, be together?" I was like, "No, for one, I couldn't afford her. I'm broke." She didn't care about none of that. I saw her about a year or so ago in Kroger's. I go to this Kroger's down the street. I saw her, she just looked at me and just turned her head, kept on going with her man. And I was like, well, you were really serious. Like, I don't know if she's ever cheated on him. I don't know how long they've been together. All I know is that man's got himself a girl who's barely 30 and he's 63. Okay, you about to roll out. But I was like, you go, boy. Got yourself a young, gorgeous, natural hair, black girl who loves older men. And nobody can come out of the woodwork like, ugh, and all this other stuff. So shut up, shut up. She's an adult, I'm an adult. She just likes older dudes. I just happened to meet her when, and it would have been legal. 16's legal in this state, but I just didn't feel right. I felt like, I don't know, I didn't feel right. I was 36 at the time. I didn't feel right. But when she was 18, I still could have done it. I still didn't feel right. But the thing about it is, if I would have had a little money, even though I didn't feel right, if I would have had a half decent job and I would have had my, self mentally together for that, we could have had a family. And she's probably mad at me because, I'm thinking she acquired that guy. She probably dated a couple. Matter of fact, I know she dated a younger dude. That's who she lost her V card to. But I just think she always liked older men. She got herself an older man. And I think she's probably mad at me because I didn't give her those children she wanted. But, I didn't want to struggle with children. I would have had her, kids, and struggling with temporary jobs, warehouse jobs where I wasn't getting no respect. It would have just crushed me, and I would have been thinking, I'm not good enough to have this family. It would have been hard for me, bro. So I struggled alone. I said, I'm just going to struggle alone. Yeah, I've been struggling alone ever since. But yeah, I think if I met somebody in the 30s, 33, 34, a 30-year-old woman, 33, 34 years old, I could do that. I don't think I want to dip into the 20s. I just don't. I think at my age, if she's at least done with, Like if she's sure of what she wants. Like there's not too many women I've ever met who've been absolutely positive of what they wanted. Most of them are sketchy. They're not sure. You know, they're with you and they're looking around at every other guy who comes into view. They can't keep their eyes off a man. They're going, and, you know, making eyes at dudes while they're with you. Man, I don't play those games no more. I used to think if I just, you know, give her the D, she'll that does that. You're just a placeholder. I don't even think on those levels no more. I don't try to satisfy women. I don't. I don't. You know, I'm not gonna pop Viagra and try to give you the D24. I don't care. And I think that's why I'm alone because most women hear the the uh, the finality in my voice. And I don't like what? Mm, yeah, I don't care. Oh, your kid what? She plays basketball. Oh, she scored. She scored. She's good. Yeah, I'm going to bed. Oh, your son did what? He got into what college? Yeah, I don't care. I don't care at all. Your 12-year-old is what? What's wrong with her? She's fighting. Yeah, she misses her dad. Well, you should go get her dad. You should have married her dad. Like it's just so many. I just so many single mothers. It's like you don't even want their kids to be around. See, now you can get sued for being close, or excuse me, being within. Let me see how the court system is positioned in this. This is what they're saying. If you are, say, you go over to a woman's house, right? Woman's got two kids. Her kid is 5, and the other one's 10, right? So they're both boys, right? 5 and 10, both little boys. Great kids. They're great kids. Like they're not running you off. They're not stepping on your Jordans. They're like well-mannered kids. I mean, they're super respectful. They call you sir. I mean, they're quiet. They're just, I mean, they're just really good boys. And you're thinking, if I was going to do the stepdaddy thing, I would do it with, you know, these boys because they're coachable. The woman's great. She's awesome. She's beautiful. She's feminine. You're like, man, I feel like I'm the, you know, I could fit in here. You know, and you know, you're talking and having a good time. Somebody comes to her door, and let's just say it's her neighbor. And her neighbor comes to the door. She steps outside, and she goes, "Hey, can you just watch them for a minute while I run next door and blah blah blah?" And you're thinking nothing of it. You don't think nothing of it. You go, "Sure," because she's great. You've known her for a couple months. The boys are great. Y'all like each other. You're sitting there watching, you know, Gilligan's Island reruns or whatever. Football. You're watching football. These kids, it's great. These kids are great. She goes next door. She's over there for 2 hours or maybe even an hour. She even calls you. Are you okay? Is everything on? No, I'm fine. You know where she's at. You know the neighbor. You dated her for a couple months. No, listen, this is what the courts are doing. She's over there still chatting it up with Linda. She's hanging out with Linda. Linda's cool. Linda's husband's over there. He's cool. You know the husband. Everything's cool. You're just having a great day. She comes back a couple hours later, whatever, cooks for you guys. You guys eat. Boom, you go home. Right? You go home that night, whatever. You go home. Next day or two, you guys get into an argument. You decide that, you know what, it's not going to work for me. I'm out. You get a letter in the mail about 2 weeks later. Guess who it's from? Child support. This is actually happening. Child support sent you a letter from, whoever her name is, and it mentions the 2 children. You owe child support for these 2 children until the age of 18. And you're like, these are not my children. And you go and prove it to the court, and the court says, doesn't matter that these are not your children. What matters is you bonded with these children. And now you owe child support for them. This is happening now. This is why, even if it's a great woman, great kids, it's still a scary situation. I listen to Second Date Update sometime. In Second Date Update, there was a man, young jocks checking Second Date Update. Let me be clear. Young jocks. So most of the people are black, right? So the woman has, a couple kids, right? And she calls in and she says, yo, I want you to call this guy I'm dating. I haven't heard from him in a minute, and I want to know why he's not calling me back. They get dude on the phone. He was like, yeah, I know her. He's like, reason why I'm calling her back is because she wanted me to, she wanted to go on a trip, but she wanted me to sign papers saying that, if something happens to her, then I'm responsible for her children. And he says, when I saw that, he's like, I'm not their father. And then she gets on the phone. And she was like, no, I wasn't trying to set you up. He's like, yeah, sure. It seemed like you were trying to set me up the whole time. He's like, now that I think about it, it's probably why you was nice to me, from the whole get up. Like, it's a game now to trap you by any means necessary. And the government is behind this whole thing. Because there are so many single women and single mothers out here, and these women aren't marriage material. You're not going to settle with these women because they let you know from the jump that, for one, they're promiscuous, two, they're argumentative. Their mothers are promiscuous. Their brothers and uncles are dangerous people. They want to fight with you. They don't like you. They want to yell at you, scream at you. They're hood dudes. They're scammers. They try to get your money. All this other stuff. So you have a whole section of men who just decide, I'm steering clear of any female. I'm staying away. You girls are actually having men killed now. And some of you are doing the killing. Like, I'm staying away from you females now. Because you're so hypersexual, for one, and you're dangerous. And the government said we can capitalize on all of this. Because regardless of what anybody says, a woman has biological needs, and those needs, especially when she's young, she has the need to go out and spread her legs and get inseminated. That's what she has, and that need starts when puberty hits, whatever age that is, and it is calling to her on a daily basis, all the way up until it doesn't. And that could be well into her 40s and 50s. She has the innate need to have a child. And at some point, it becomes her prime directive. So in her mind, she channels and schedules and manipulates and connives her way into some kind of man's life, even for a very short time, just so he can inseminate her. And a lot of times, that man doesn't even know what's going on. He is completely unwise. She done poked holes in the Jimmy, like what happened to Drake. Prostitute. I don't know if she was a prostitute or not, but the woman slept with him, and she poked holes and tried to poke holes in the condom. Or no, what she did was she went into the bathroom. After he went to the bathroom, took the condom off, he put hot sauce into the condom because hot sauce destroys sperm cells. This chick was none the wiser. She goes into the bathroom after he gets out, and her whole plan was put a baby in me. She finds the condom in the garbage, takes it, and tries to put his seed up in her so, of course, she can get a check. Well, when she put, the condom, what was inside the condom, in her insides start getting lit up. She turned around and tried to sue Drake. She tried to sue him because she tried to scam him and it didn't work. And when we heard the story, it was just like, hot sauce? Who told you about hot sauce? Like, nobody's ever, like, why would you think hot sauce? And then you're thinking, just because hot sauce is hot sauce and, it burns. So, if a girl tries this, it's going to burn her. This is what the lawyers were thinking. You knew that she was going to try to get you, which he did not know. You knew there was a chance she was going to do this, which he probably did know. But was he at fault because she did it? Absolutely not. But for the simple fact that you put hot sauce in the condom, you knew that it was possible that this woman was going to, because this is a scam that women do. If it was a regular guy like me, I wouldn't have thought nothing of it. But you're Drake. You're a multi-millionaire. You know women do stuff like that. So you put hot sauce in there and it burned her. You're at fault. No, you're not at fault. She's at fault because she's a scammer. She was trying to scam you for millions of dollars. Millions. And it didn't work. But what most of us, that's the way most of us looked at the story. But the truth is he wasn't really trying to harm the woman. The truth is hot sauce kills sperm cells. He was trying to kill his sperm cells. He was not trying to harm the woman. So, of course, I don't think he even had to settle out of court because of it. It's just like, no, I was trying to just kill my sperm cells. That's it. I didn't know that if you put hot sauce in your coochie, that it's going to burn your coochie. Like, that's terrible. Nope, I was just trying to kill my sperm cells. I mean, would it have been better if I had put rubbing alcohol in there? Mercurochrome? Just imagine if he took some iodine or mercurochrome. If you don't know what mercurochrome is, it's what you put on a scab once you get cut. And it stings as soon as it hits. And it causes you to scab up. Just imagine if he put mercurochrome on there and she put it inside of her. She'd probably never be able to have a kid. But that's the game today. And this is why the female is so dangerous. And you're like, you got tits and ass. You're not dangerous. She's got tits and ass. That's why she's dangerous. There are less and less men having babies or having children with females. In the matter of fact, in any community. Well, in America, the white people's birth rate is down 2%. This is why Roe v. Wade was turned over. They didn't turn it over for women. They turned it over because the white man is dying off in alarming numbers. White women outnumber white men. The white man is constantly dying. 6 million people dead in 1 year. CV is still out there. It's still killing people. Drugs, smoking, driving, war. The white man is dying. And they have rang the alarm. This is why they're going to reverse all the gay, same-sex marriages. That's going to all be turned back over. As a matter of fact, don't be surprised if they go ahead and start implementing God in the schools again or somewhere. I mean, it's going to be fake, but I mean, just think about America and how it was made, but it was still predicated upon Christian. Like when you're talking about the people who came over here and conquered, you're talking about people who are Christians. Puritans and all those, they believed in God, Jesus. Whenever you were in school back in the day, you'd one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is what you did, even though they slaughtered millions and millions of black people, Indians, Irish. There are a bunch of towns that lakes are over. Towns, whole towns, black people built. Seneca Village was in the middle of New York, where that one patch of green is, Central Park. That was Seneca Village. 75% of it was black, 25% of it was Irish. Told the black and the Irish people to get out. Government came, took the land contract, boom, we own it now. There are hundreds of towns that were predominantly black. Government came, took it over, get out. Or they slaughtered the people like they did in Rosewood, slaughtered the people. Or they did the whole Oklahoma thing, Black Wall Street. A white woman, said a boy whistled at her. White people got in their cars, came across the street. When the whole thing was all over with, 3,000 people were displaced, dead, hung, burned, shot. All black people gone. There are lots of villages like that, but the majority of them are underwater. Graves, everything. Town hall, churches, dental offices, hospital, everything, all underwater. Some of those lakes are receding where you can actually see where these towns still exist. There are dead people under there. And people are fishing over these waters and they have no idea that there are people who have been slaughtered and are under these waters. No idea. And are all here in America. But the white population is declining. And black men, you have black men who have been making these, especially on TikTok, you hear black men saying, no nut November, nut retention, don't have sex. You have men who are trying to open up their third eye and they're just like, don't deal with the women. You even have women saying, stay away from women because they're stealing your power. So you have this whole movement of this whole non-sexual movement that's happening where people, especially men, because, we're notorious for always wanting to hump, but men are reeling it in and controlling themselves. And even though they have the desire to, go ahead and bust up into some ass somewhere, they're like, you know what, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. And even if it's 10 men one day, next week, it's, 15 men. Week after that, it's 35 men. You're looking at 35 young and able men who can inseminate a woman and have children who decided not to. All of those men are talking about their experiences and how they're stronger, wiser, how they're better because they left the woman alone. They talk about how they're able to keep their money. They talk about how the police are not after them, the court system's not after them. Nobody's tracking them down. There's been no shootings, no violences around them, no nothing. Simply because they're not. Look, even if they know women, they're just not sleeping with them. Nobody's busting out any windows. There's no nothing. There's no violence coming to them. Things are quieter. They're getting more done. They're getting their degrees. They're getting their career straight. They have more things that they want to accomplish, and they did within a very short time, simply because they left the coochie alone. And they're bragging about it. And more men in their 20s and 30s are going, I'm going to try that. I did the same thing, and I told my buddy about it. I said, it's good to be alone sometimes. He's like, that's good advice. He's younger than me. This whole movement has picked up steam, or going across the borders and finding a woman. So the black woman is being left in a proverbial cold because she wants to have children. Well, you've been killing us. The police have been out our doors. Our vehicles have been messed up. Our jobs, you've been taking our jobs from us. You've been putting us in jail. You're taking our bank accounts from us. You're taking our futures. You are high in diseases. You're looking at Fulton County. It's high with AIDS. So you've been high in diseases. You're masculine. I mean, there's so many reasons why we don't even want to put our body with yours and join spirits. And this movement is taking flight. Every second, there's another man who's bowing out gracefully and saying, I don't want anything to do with you. But I'll look at you on Instagram and I'll give you a like. And if you notice how Instagram is more and more aggressive, and because of this aggression, Instagram, Facebook, they get away with whatever they can, but especially Instagram. And because of this aggression, you notice the women who are showing more and more of their ass, and all the things that they can get with. They're knocking those guidelines back as far as they can. You'll notice the women are younger and younger. This is why Kanye West says, I don't want Stormy on Instagram. Stormy has her own Instagram with millions of followers. She's like 11. So you have these 11-year-old, 8-year-old girls dancing with their mothers, looking like they're ready to beat up anything that moves. These girls look evil. They look like they're already being groomed to do man things. 8 years old. Shaking her hips like their mother dancing with them, shaking her hips as hard as they can. Letting you know it won't be long until I'm ready. And then breaking away from their mothers, going and getting the D from some old guy, and then coming home like nothing ever happened. Listen, if this is happening, it's going to keep happening. And this is going to get louder and louder until somebody who's some 11, 10-year-old girl, you're going to be like, Tone was telling me about this. You're going to meet one. You're going to meet a girl like that. I guarantee it. And it's all a knee-jerk reaction of men saying, I don't want anything to do with you. The The mother is in competition with the daughter at age 8, 9 years old. That daughter is being looked at. She is. And the daughter knows it. She knows you're looking at her. And she likes the attention. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to be illegal. You don't have to nothing. But the daughter notices you looking at her. Even if you just, hey, what's going on? You're like, hey, he said hello to me. Nothing illegal. You don't even have something illegal on your mind. It doesn't matter. You know why? Because there's not enough of you. There's not enough boys born to girl ratio. Not to mention, boys don't have anything. They usually don't have any money. So once that daughter becomes understanding of economics, is what, around 10, 11? She hits puberty. She looks at a 12-year-old boy and she knows this boy has not a dime on him. She looks at her dad's friends and sees that he's driving a nice car. This is why that little girl ran away. She jumped in a car with 2 men, age 22. What groomed an 11-year-old to jump in a car with 2 men? What happened? A stranger that she met on the internet. She wasn't poor. She didn't look homely. Her hair was done. She didn't have holes in her. Nothing. Any excuse that you want that's typical, this little girl wasn't. Why would an 11-year-old agree to go run off with these men? And she's talking to them on, and you're like, oh, they manipulated her. And I'm just like, whatever, she's a child. She's not fully developed. That's not the point. This is not the point. Listen, those men are dangerous and they're guilty of whatever, even if they never touched her, which we know they did. Those men are guilty of whatever. But what happened to her? Because there's a whole bunch of little girls doing this. Or the men wouldn't have ever even thought about it. What happened to this 11-year-old girl? What is in her head to make her go, I want to hang out with grown men that I don't know? Grown men. These are not 11-year-old boys. Why isn't she hanging out with 11-year-old boys? 12-year-old boys, 13-year-old boys. And that's okay. What made her go, I want to hang out with a grown man? Because here's the thing. They didn't roll up to her house. You know how she found them? She found them on the internet. And then she came home, packed her bags, and said, I'm leaving, and disappeared without the mother knowing. She calculated this whole thing at 11. And everybody's on the guy. Yeah, we haven't found him, but we're gonna do you, and all the men we're gonna castrate you. And I'm like, yeah, put that guy in jail. But that guy didn't do anything that little girl didn't allow. And you could say, oh, he manipulated her, they're manipulators, they're, all these bad names you call guys. And he probably is. They are, because there was 2 of them. They are all of those things. But are we going to talk about her? How? how did the communication between her and the protective mother, how did that communication break down? What in that little girl's mind made her go, I no longer want to be under the safety of my mother? And she wasn't the only one that was, begging for her to come home. They said, look, we love you, come home. What made this little girl leave her loving protection and go out into a dangerous world? Why are we not examining these little girls and actually sitting down with them and saying, honey, what happened? Why are we not teaching these? See, we teach these little girls the basics. Your body's valuable. People want your body. Don't let people touch you. Don't let strangers talk to you. Don't smoke, don't drink. Stay with your friends, stay with your family. Go to school, get on a bus, come home. And we have all these safety things that are, and that's fine and well. But if this child decides that they no longer want to walk within the confines of your rules, then everything you set up is broken down. What happened? Could it have been foresaw? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. And part of it is what's happening in society. And it's not just Black people. What's happening in society? A lot of it has to do with our government. A lot of it has to do with what we're allowing our teachers to say to our children. A lot of it has to do with the breakdown in the nuclear family. When you take the father out of the house, you run the risk of this happening. And here's the thing. This little girl's not going to jail. She shouldn't. She's not going to go to juvenile or something like that. She shouldn't. But if this girl came home and she's not distraught, they give her an R test. They, check her body out and, whatever happens. But let's just say that these guys didn't do whatever to her because she wasn't gone that long. Or they did. But let's just say let's just say whatever happened to her, she isn't crying, she isn't bruised up, because the police report didn't say she was all messed up. They said she's home and she's safe. It's like she came home and she's good now. But let's think about that. She left, she was gone for a couple days with two strange men. They were grown men, they're in their 20s. They came, but they drove her back and dropped her off within her neighborhood. So they dropped her off within walking distance of her neighborhood, meaning they know her neighborhood. They drop her off. She comes home. The police pick her up. The police do whatever they're going to do, talk to her. The mother goes and picks her up, brings her home, right? Now the little girl is home. She gets a talking to by the authorities, by her mother. She listens, but she's not listening. She's thinking about what just happened to her. And if it wasn't a traumatizing experience, guess what's going to happen? She's going to get right back on Instagram and she's going to go and do the same thing. How do I know this? Because I know somebody who did it. I know a couple young ladies who did it. And they did this constantly. Ran away, and they never came home traumatized. They willingly left the protection of their home and sought men out. Men, boys, they wanted this attention. What is going on? Why would they do this? All this protection they have. There's a breakdown in the family. There's a breakdown in fatherhood. Most of the time, the father is not there. Even if the stepdad is around, the father's not there. And the government helped take the father out of these people's houses. The government did it on purpose. CPS is not for you. It is not for you. And because they ripped the father out and they paid these women, they said, go ahead and have more children, we'll pay you. Have more children, have more children, have more children. But they know these children are unprotected, and you as a mother are not the authoritarian. You may be the one to give whoopings, but you're not the authoritarian. You do not scare that child like a father does. Nobody, listen. When a strange man comes to your door and sees a woman, do you think he's afraid? And you can have a Ruger in your hand. You can have a 38 long right in your hand, threatening him. What up, beauty? You can have a 38 long. You can have a 44 long. You could be standing there promising that you'll take him off this planet. Promising you taking him off this planet. Guess what? He is not as afraid of you as he is if a full-grown man came to the door with no weapon. Because he thinks he can probably talk you down. You point it right at his head. He'd be like, all right, I'm out of here. But if that little girl in there, that little 11, 12-year-old in there, got tits and ass, and she's giving it out, he's going to find a way. And she's going to find a way. Matter of fact, she's going to seek him out. He's going to be bent over behind a tree some damn where. She's not going to give a damn when she gets home. Because all she's thinking about is what just happened to her. It didn't traumatize her. She wants to mate. So she's going to find a way to mate. It's going to happen. I've seen it. I've seen it at close hand, and I couldn't understand it, but now I do. If you keep ripping these fathers out of these homes, you're going to have pregnant 11-year-olds. You're going to have pregnant 13-year-olds. It is hard to hear because no female wants to think about their 11-year-old daughter being, railed. Because it's the truth. It's the hard truth. It's the damn truth. And the government is behind it all. Jeffrey Epstein did not act on his own. What do you want? You want your kid to come home pregnant at 13? Keep ignoring the truth. And some people, you're talking this way, you're talking about little girls. I'm talking about girls and boys. You're a man. You shouldn't be. If I was a woman, you wouldn't be asking me why I'm talking like this. I'm an educated man. I have a degree in health administration. What do you think we talk about? Health care in its broadest aspect. Diseases, death rates, birth rates. You think we're going to skip out 11, 12-year-old little girls because of your feelings? We don't care about it. Look at the marriage rate of kids in America. Look at the marriage rate of kids in America. You understand, 12 years old, you can marry a 12-year-older. Look at the age of consent and then the age of parental consent. You guys can be upset because your feelings are hurt, because it's an uneasy topic, because you have nieces. I got nieces Nobody cares. For one, I have 3 channels. That's for one. Two, my other channel has 3,300 people. That's for two. For three, I'm not worried about anything else. I don't make no money talking about this. This channel has 437 subscribers, and I appreciate every single one of you. I don't make a dime off you. I don't make 1 red cent off you, not unless you donate to me. And I haven't asked anybody for a super chat. Go look at all my videos and tell me which one I've asked you for money. I don't even ask you to hit the like button most of the time because I don't care. What I care about is the results. I live in a neighborhood where I'm watching this happen every day. So I'm supposed to be quiet and not talk about it because I'm starting a channel? Or because you have people who are that age? I don't care. If you don't watch the kids in your family, this story is going to be your story. Not to mention, I'm talking about a story that actually happened. Listen, if you listen to any of my videos, I always talk about experience that I know about. I don't bring up scenarios out of nowhere. Jeffrey Epstein is a real person who's dead now because of this. Let's go through it. How many of those 14-year-olders do you think had fathers in their lives that Jeffrey Epstein was messing with? Oh, no, that's different. No, that's different. No. I'm going to show this comment because that's different. So let me break it down to you. I'm not talking about kids that are being snatched and taken somewhere and forced into some type of situation that is a heinous crime. I'm talking about a situation that just happened where a little girl decided she wanted to hang out with 2 men she did not know. She planned it, packed her bags, and got into their car with them. You are misinformed. You are clearly misinformed. And you're coming in at the tail end of a conversation. And because of this, you're all triggered and whatnot. But you know what? Who's gonna talk about it if we don't talk about it? Let me know that. Who's gonna talk about it? Who's talking about it? Let's talk about that. Why is it not okay for a man to talk about what's happening in his neighborhood? Because that is a little black girl that happened to. I can't talk about what's happening to our children because you're triggered. You're in the wrong place. I can't discuss what's going on in black neighborhoods. So I'm supposed to ignore the fact that this little girl could have not came home because you're triggered. So if this girl came home in a body bag, it's okay with you. Let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about how these kids are coming home in, body bags and their organs are missing. No, let's completely not talk about that. Get out of here. You don't know what you're talking about. You're talking more about these kids having less than parents. That's that neglect. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about listen, I'm talking about how the government is neglecting them. Listen, the government is setting people up. This whole thing is the government. Oh, okay, well, let's do this. I live in the state of Ohio. There was a recent PSA on TikTok talking about how there are a bunch of teenagers that are missing, girls and boys. They're missing in the state of Ohio. And we've gone to the authorities and everything. Those kids have not returned home. Oh, you don't want to talk about that because your feelings? These are girls and boys. They're gone. The black market wants every part of you. Everything is valuable to them. These kids are gone, and this is happening now. Oh, you know what? I'm finished with you. You have a good evening. You have a good evening. I'm done. I don't deal with that. Yeah, they have a say whether or not they decide to get treatment or mental health. This is true. They can refuse treatment, and the law allows it. The law is in place for teens to be able to accept. Exactly. It is. You have one human service, child protective service. You have one. Okay, so you have children. You know what I'm talking about. Without parents on board. Yeah, I must have misunderstood something. Yeah, you see, you understand the conversation. Like this guy's talking about unless I'm suspect, you have a degree in human services, child protection. Okay, boom. I wish we could have a one of those panel things. But you know what I'm talking about. See, I used to work for Children's Services too. I also work for the Ohio House of Representatives. And here's what I know about the Ohio House of Representatives. I was a legislative aide for the Republicans and the Democrats. This is way back in '99. And here's what I know. If you call up to the legislative aide and you make a complaint, we have to investigate it. We have to. We can't just sit on our laurels and act. And here's the thing about it. The majority of the time, the rep doesn't even know that you got that phone call. If you call your district and you have a legitimate complaint, that legislative aide is going to start making phone calls. And they can call anyone. They can call the police. They can call the FBI. They can call anyone. They can call your postmaster. If anybody called me with a complaint, I was like, give me their phone number. And I got right on the phone. I called banks. I put people straight for being racist. I've talked to cops like, what are you about to do? I'm looking right at the cop. He's like, yeah, I'm towing this guy's car. I'm like, well, that's my neighbor. And why are you towing his car? Because I work for the House of Representatives, and on Monday, I'm going to go and check the law and make sure you're correct. And the tow truck driver pretty much had his car in the air. That cop turned around and told that tow truck driver, put his car down and tell him to come outside. His name was Larry. And listen, Larry's windshield was cracked. He didn't have any tags and no driver's license. And I cop made that tow truck driver to put his car down. He took Larry, he said, listen, you got so many days to clean this up. And that cop left. Don't look at me like I'm some kind of creep, because I've been in the mix for years. I used to work for Children's Services. I was an operator. I used to listen to mothers cry over their child being taken away. No, I'm not the creep here. I'm the guy warning you that if you guys don't wake up and get the government out of your house, if you mothers don't cut the BS, you don't cut the BS and stop fighting with these dads, then your little girl is going to pack her bags and walk out of your house willingly and jump in a car with two strange men. I've seen it happen. I know girls who've done this. I've had mothers come up to me and ask me where their child was. I'm not the weirdo. I'm warning you that your kid doesn't have to be lured out the house. I've had a mother tell me, she's like, that. She's not poor. She's not hurting. We don't abuse her. No, nothing. We don't know why she keeps running away. Attention. She wanted attention. She got it. Lots of it. And she had a 2-year-old before she got out of high school. Yeah, call me the weirdo. Go ahead and report me. Let the FBI listen to what I'm saying. And then show me where I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm the weirdo because I'm a black man talking about an 11-year-old girl. Well, guess what? I got the story off of YouTube. And it was a black man who was reporting it. So don't start with me. I got it from somebody else. Don't come to me like I'm the weirdo sitting up here thinking about 11-year-old girls. Here's the problem. If you're not thinking about 11-year-old girls, who is? When I walk, I live in a neighborhood. There are plenty of kids here running around. Plenty. They got a cute little girls running around all day. I sit out there on my truck, on my trailer, and I watch the neighborhood. And about a week ago, I noticed that these two guys coming down my street, and I looked at them, I looked at their car, and I watched them slow down. And I watched where they slowed down and where they were looking. They were looking in one direction, and I know who lives where they were looking. And my thought is, if that little girl comes outside and they call her over to this car, I'm going to have to get up and call that little girl over here. This is what I'm thinking. And I'm watching these men because I know they're looking at this little girl who lives up here. I know they're looking at her. Now, whenever I go outside, am I supposed to ignore this? Because it's happening in my neighborhood. Right there. As soon as I get outside. But because somebody's feelings is hurt about me talking about it, am I not supposed to say anything? I'm supposed to watch these men slow down, looking at this girl's house. And I'm supposed to just let it happen. Not to hell with you and everybody else who thinks that. You see, people are quick to call a man a creep. They're quick. Oh, you're creepy. Not to mention that the majority of teachers who are knocking off kids are females. But the man's the creep. No, see, that's the problem. You alienate the good men with the bad men. Just because he's a man, he's a creep. As if these women ain't out here, sucking off 9-year-old boys and laughing about it. No, a creep is a creep. I could turn my back to that whole situation because I don't know the little girl. I don't know her. I just see her and her little friends playing. I don't know her. I could just ignore her. I could watch these men watching her. They're watching her. These men are watching her. And they're coming from down the street. They're watching. Here's the thing. They don't live on this block. They're watching her. They're waiting on her. That's what they're doing. They're waiting on an opportunity. I don't understand that. I fetish? What do you mean? I hope you do, so I can tell them about the situation I just saw. You don't scare me with that. Go ahead. Send them to my channel. I got some information they might want to know about. Tell them to come down my street because there's some situations over here that's going to happen. And I don't have the authority to do anything about it except beat one of them up. Yeah, tell them where I live. Go ahead, report me. Yeah. You don't scare me. Is that supposed to scare me? And what are they going to do? What are they going to do? You're not thinking this through. For one, you're going to have to give your information eventually. And once they hear the information that I'm telling them, they're going to have to decipher, is it right or is it wrong? Then they may look me up, look up my background or whatever. They're going to find out I'm a veteran. They're going to find out that I did used to work for the House of Representatives. They're going to find out I do have a degree, in health administration. They're going to find out I have no felonies. Yeah, we're going to do the whole thing. And then once that's all over with, they're going to find out where the report came from. Then we're going to look at you. See how that works? You can't just arbitrarily say somebody's doing something when they're not. And then once they're all investigated, you're just going to walk off like nothing ever happened. So go ahead, because we're going to look at you. We're going to look at your family. We're going to look at everything you're doing. Go right ahead. We're going to take a look at you. You don't scare nobody with a pizza and the police. I used to work for Children's Services. I worked for the state. I worked for ODJFS. I've been talking about this for 20 years. You're late. You're late. Because you got other channel that gives you the right to slander little girls on a small slander. What's the definition of slander? Slander. Let's look it up. Take a breath. Go like this. And then explain exactly what you're saying, because you probably don't know. And then let's look at what crime I committed, because you do know that if you call the cops, you give a false report, that's your ass. That's your ass. This is the internet, baby. We got your IP address. You're not going nowhere. We're going to look into you. You see, this is the internet. So let's go. Let's do it. Let's look into each other. See who's doing what. Let's look at all the information that I gave and see if any of it is wrong. See if I told any lie. What lie did I tell? See, it just bothers me when people think that fathers, because I am a father, I have a little girl. Well, she's older, but she's still a girl. It bothers me that people think that fathers can't talk about females. What gives you the right to tell me that I can't talk about females in my own neighborhood when I'm a father myself? What have you accomplished that tells you that you can just arbitrarily, besmirch, my character and my efforts because you feel uncomfortable about a topic. Who, who, are, who, are, who are you? What have you done? What is your qualifications for saying a father cannot talk about a situation that he knows little girls are going through because he has a little girl? What makes you overqualified to just all of a sudden try to ruin somebody's life because they're talking about a delicate situation to other people through a social channel? How else are we supposed to talk? I don't know any of you. I don't have your phone number. We're talking about something that happened on YouTube. It was reported on YouTube. Thousands of people have seen. And I can't talk about a subject that affects my family, that's been affecting my family, that's affecting my neighborhood. You're lucky I ain't kicked you off here yet, because you're just weird. Because you're just weird. You're weird. You should be listening in. You should be going, you know what? The birth rate is down. You know what? The marriage rate is down. You know what? The divorce rate is up. AIDS is running more and more rampant. AIDS killed 35 million people. All right? Let's drink in some information before you go off talking about some I'm a weirdo. Because I'm telling you what's happening in my neighborhood. I'm the weirdo. But you're saying little girls getting touched and stuff. I said little girls are getting touched and stuff. And bro, block me so you can slander little girls. You sound more stupider and more stupider. You don't even know what the word slander means. You're dumber and dumber every comment. Well, why don't you bring up the legal definition of slander and then go back and look at what I've said and tell me how I slandered someone? Just go ahead. I'm not even going to do it for you. Usually I would pull up the dictionary to help you out, but you said you're going to call the police on me. You threatened me. So I have no choice but to let you be your own defense. Look up the word slander. And I'm talking about little girls being touched. I'm sitting here talking about, for one, I'm talking about girls and boys going missing just in the state of Ohio, and how it is alarming that these kids are going missing. And the authorities know about it. How are all these children going missing? That's really what the whole conversation's about. How are these children walking out of the house and jumping into cars with grown men? This whole thing with Jeffrey Epstein, if you were here for even a half an hour, you would have got the caveat of this conversation, and you would have had some understanding instead of just jumping in with your pitiful triggered feelings. If I was a woman, you wouldn't be saying any of this. You're only saying it because I'm a man. If I was a mother instead of a father, you would not be on here talking about pizza and the police. Let's just get that straight. I'm not a woman, so I don't have the right to tell you the numbers. I can't quote to you the numbers of missing children because I'm a man. Amish folk get paid? I don't understand what you mean. You sound guilty of something. Why are you on topic about them? Once again, my hands are fast. Your brain's not fast. I sound guilty of something. Go ahead now, because you're about to slander. Once again, your IP address is on here. So be careful of what you say, because I'm not broke. You're about to slander, and if you haven't been keeping up, you can be found guilty of slander. All right? And you're coming mighty close to it. Just letting you know, you're about to lose some money. You can play if you want to, but I'm not broke. I'll type in a couple words. We'll find out exactly who you are, and this whole thing is recorded. And the pizza and the police will be at your house, and you'll end up in court, and I'll sue the pants off you. I promise you I will. We'll see how fast your hands are then. And I'll laugh at you when it's over with. If you want to dance, we can dance. I'm telling you, you're going to lose. I'm simply telling you what's going on in your neighborhood. Okay? Well, it's up to you. It's up to you. Everything you're saying is being recorded. Everything I'm saying is being recorded. So what am I guilty of? Ball's in your court. See, this is why men don't talk about these subjects, because of idiots like this. This is why men have to be quiet. We have to walk away. We have to let things happen in front of us because of stupidity like this. Somebody who cannot handle an adult conversation. They become accusatory. And they always want to seem like they're the ones who's helping out everybody by quieting the people who are talking about the travesties that's happening in their neighborhood. Oh, you're the one who's helping. You're the one who's helping by coming on here and telling me the police are coming after me because I'm talking about a situation that's happening in my neighborhood. You're the big help. See, you won't talk about these situations because you've been beaten into being afraid. You're afraid. You're social media afraid. Social media has beat the hell out of everyone for bringing up any subject that has to do with girls, because little girls are walking out of the house now. Little girls are walking out of the damn house. In my state, they're coming up missing and never found. One 28-year-old was found floating down the river. She was found floating down the river. Another young man that I knew was found dead on the state capitol lawn. The state capitol. They killed him on the state capitol lawn and left him there for everyone to see. You are an idiot. And when this comes close to your home, you're going to look even more stupider. Well, that's the first intelligence thing you actually said. You didn't even say it right. How do I know the police? Is that what you're trying to say? How do I know that the police are doing their job on these cases? Well, I'm going to tell you something. There's mixed reviews on what the police are doing. Let me go back in history some more since you're so enthralled with my channel, which you could have clicked off anytime. I could have just blocked you, but I figured there's going to be more people like you. Okay, so back in the 60s, there was a black neighborhood that was being terrorized. And what happened was there was a serial killer, and the serial killer was going after little girls. Oh, I can't say little girls because I'm a man. No, no. And little girls range in between somewhere around 9 and 12. I said again, I talked about little girls. That's a bad thing. These little girls were coming up missing. The bodies weren't found, but what was found was their shoes. The shoes were being found on the side of the road. Eventually, what happened was, let me see if you said something else stupid. It needs to be addressed also in Pennsylvania because of the parents. Yes, thank you very much. Yeah. Now, I'm from Pittsburgh, so I understand the whole thing in Pittsburgh. It's crazy, but thank you very much. But like I was saying, so the shoes were found. Now, the black people, the parents of these missing children, who they pretty much knew were deceased, went to the police department and opened up an investigation. After they opened up an investigation, 2 more girls were missing. Once the investigation it came to an end, found out that it was 2 police officers that killed the last 2 girls. The other killer of the girls, black girls, they were black girls, were not found. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a stupid comment because I am talking about the parents. If you would have came in just a little earlier, you would have saw my diatribe on why this girl just recently, the 11-year-old girl that walked out the house, why did the communication between her and her mother, who was on social media and on the news, said she loves her, which we believe she does. But the thing about it is the father didn't go pick her up at the police station. The mother did. Why did the communication between the 11-year-old girl and the mother break down? Why did the girl leave with the 2 men after she had all this love and protection around her? This is not a solitary case, and that's what this is about. This is something that's happened all over America. White, black, Hispanic, this is happening everywhere to everyone. This is not an isolated case. And just because they're 11-year-old girls doesn't mean it's something that a grown man, an educated man who's been working in this arena for over 20 years should not talk about. I'm sorry if you heard about it. All of a sudden, I'm suspect. I'm supposed to be quiet. You can kiss my black ass. Because I got nieces who ran away from home. Shoot, I got sisters who ran away when they were young. No, you can kiss my black ass all day. I'm going to talk about it because I'm watching it happen over and over and over and over and over again. And it's happening more and more frequent, especially because of social media. I'm talking about situations that actually happen with parents that I know of. In every single situation, there is no father. Every single one. The man is missing. Even if there's a stepfather, there's no father. Kind of got the focus on what you can control. I don't understand the comment. My hands are fast. I'm not on your side, buddy. Sorry. Children abduction is going on, and the problem is on parents that lets them have their way. Yeah, but you know what? Tell them that again. Because listen, listen. If I was somebody, oh, okay, let's just drink in how stupid this is. For one, YouTube is set up to where you can't talk to underage. You can't. If I put this video where anyone can see it, look, kids can't even see this video. If I click the button where kids can see this video, I would not be able to respond. I can't write any messages, no nothing. Why would I come on YouTube with 400 and some odd subscribers and pitch that I am some kind of, like, this is my program. Like, like what? Like, this why would I do that? Why wouldn't I come on to the 400? Why wouldn't I come on to the 400 and some odd people? Let's back this up even further. A week ago, I had a video, the Why I Left Atlanta or Don't Move to Atlanta. That video had almost no views. It has 81K within 2 weeks. Why would I risk coming on talking about children, families, the government, marriage, divorce? Why would I come on here and say that I have some type of clandestine plans? Why would I do that? And all those people have the opportunity to come and look at this video. You can easily look up my resume, look at my history. All the places I said I worked, I did. I even worked for St. Vincent Family Services. And guess what those are? Those are all kids. It's called St. Vincent's Children's Family something, whatever. St. Vincent something. I worked there years ago. All kids. I couldn't have done any of this if I was what you say I am. I couldn't have done none of it if I was that guy. I work directly with children. Directly. And the youngest girl was about knee-high to a butterfly. And I had to protect her the most. Because I also had two 15-year-old boys, and one of them was close to 400 pounds. He was huge. He had to be at least 360. And him and another kid was about to get into it, and he was a good, 230 himself. And they started selling wolf tickets to each other. And I stepped in and I said, listen, I'm going to tell you something. If any of you hurt this little girl, I'm going to be the next person you fight. You should be blaming the nasty men, not the kids at 11. Oh, once again, you missed the beginning of a conversation. I did blame them. But they didn't come and snatch that girl out of her house. You you need to go and look at the video, what happened with this little girl, and listen how the news media explained it and what they said, the facts, and what the police said. These are the facts. The little girl planned it on Instagram. She met the men on Instagram and she planned to meet them. She came home and packed her bags and she walked out the door. Now let's think about the whole pack your bags. Let's think about that. Let's just take the pack your bags. Because the nasty men, yes, those guys are everything you say they are. But let's talk about the packing your bags. Can we do that? Can we dispense with the criticism and let's get to the intelligentsia of the whole thing? Because she packed her bags. Do you think if her father was there, she would have packed her bags? There was a video recently that was on TikTok of another little girl about the same age. She got off the school bus and she was coming to the house. And when she got to the house, she was trying to open the door. While she was opening or trying to open the door, she was having a conversation with somebody just out of view. It was another little boy her age. And she was telling the little boy to stay right there. Now, why was she telling the little boy to stay right there until she opened the door? And why was she talking to him off to the side? Because she knew there was a camera right there watching her. But what she didn't know is that her father could hear everything that was being said. And the father was speaking, he must have been at work and was speaking through the Ring camera. And he called her name, boom. And then he said, "Who are you talking to?" And the little girl tried to lie her way out of it. But the thing was, she was trying to open the door so both of those could go into the house. And the father stopped it. Bang. Don't be an idiot. Don't be blind to what's happening in your neighborhood. No, I shouldn't have mentioned that either. Let's talk about how these little girls are planning to do stuff they're not supposed to do. That little girl had a plan on the school bus. She planned it on the school bus. She knew where the camera was. She told the little boy, step off to the side. The little boy was barely in camera shot. She knew exactly where the camera was. Look, you can ignore your situations. That's fine. But I'm not ignoring what's going on in my neighborhood. I'm just not doing it. I'm not, because I've seen it and I've seen too much. You can shame every man that you want. That's fine. When all the men stop taking care of the children in a neighborhood, when all the men decide to shut up and watch things happening, the blood's going to be on your hands. Because there are people out here who are playing for keeps. They want your organs. They want your, listen, the black market is real. Let's just take Afghanistan. This just shows you how people just, because of their social media feelings, will not listen. Let's just take Afghanistan. Let's take Afghanistan. Do you know what's happening in Afghanistan? You probably, yeah, I know everything because my hands are fast. Well, listen, fast hands, let me enlighten you to the black market in Afghanistan. Most of the men in Afghanistan have gotten one of their organs taken out. And they'll lift up their shirt and do like this, and there's a scar there. And they got one of their organs taken out. Why? To sell it on the black market. And so many men have done this. The price of that organ has dropped. The black market is worldwide. Now let's go back here to America. Remember the kid that got killed he's a high school boy. He got killed and he was rolled up in a mat. They sell them for cash. Exactly. Now let's take the kid that was rolled up in the mat. Remember that happened a couple of years ago? That was a high school kid. Uh-oh, I'm talking about kids again. When that kid was discovered, for one, he was rolled up in a mat. He was already dead. They took that kid to, of course, the morgue. When the parents went to look at the body, all his organs were missing. All gone. Recently, there was a man, full-grown black man, who was in a car accident. Same thing happened. Went to the morgue. All his organs were missing. State of Nevada, young man, about 21 years old, traveling by himself, came up missing. When they found him, all his organs were missing, including his eyes. If you're not educated, then it's just gonna go right over your head. And you can stay in your feelings. If that's where you feel safe, stay there. But for us educated people, and thus us people who want to be educated, that's what this is for. Yeah, they have the footage. They have the footage somewhere. This is happening, whether you like it or not. I'll read some of your ridiculous comments. Well, I read all the comments. You can blame no one but the pets. Oh my God. I'm neither. I worked for both of them, but I'm neither. I used to be Democrat, but I'm neither. You can blame no one but the Peds. You don't know how this world works. You haven't been following the Jeffrey Epstein case at all. You haven't. The Jeffrey Epstein, listen, Jeffrey Epstein is a martyr. You haven't. You're under a rock. You're hiding your head under a rock, and that's okay, because it's an ugly world out here. It's an ugly world, and you don't want to hear the truth. You don't want to hear that the cops might be in on it. How do you think those kids disappear so easily? And this is not the first time. This has been happening for a long ass time. How can a kid go just missing just so easily? If a cop rolls up on you and says, get in the car, you got two choices. You get in the car or you run. What do you think an 11-year-old girl is going to do? She's going to get in the car. That's what happened in the 60s and 70s. And those girls were killed. It was the police that were killing them. This is not me talking. This is an actual story that happened. Go look at the story and talk about the little black girls whose shoes were on the side of the road. It was the police who were killing the girls. Go look at it. So if you caught the two, you smacked the girl or beat the men, well, now you're talking about how would I punish them? I would punish them according to the law. I wouldn't punish the girl at all. But the part of the problem is there's no punishment for what these girls are doing. And I don't think that you should punish them, but that's part of the problem. What do you do to a 10, 11, 12-year-old girl who runs away? Used to be you get a whooping. Now you can't do that. CPS, boom. And they'll blame it on the mother. She ran away because of you. So that's out. So you tell me, the men, they get punished according to the written law. That's a given. They're already going to get punished if they get caught, which I don't know if they will or not. I don't know. I haven't looked into the story any further. But the little girl, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. You tell me my hands are fast. What will you do? What is your subscription, my hands are fast? Since you're so agitated by the conversation that you barely understand, you tell us. Tell us how we should proceed with this pandemic. This is happening worldwide. Tell us what we should do with our little girls who decide to get in the car, plan it, to plan it. She planned this thing. Regardless of what you think about the men, she came home, did not tell her mother where she was going. Is that the men's fault? That's the man's fault. She packed her bags. That's the man's fault. She walked out the house. Her mother was none the wiser, and neither was anybody else. Nobody knew she was gone. That's the man's fault. And she jumped in the car with the men. The man didn't come to the house and snatch her. That's totally different. She walked out. She met him at a certain place, the whole thing planned the whole time. I'm going to be on this street at this time. Here I am. This is what I have on. Boom. Please educate me on what we should do with this little girl. Because you're the one who's triggered by this conversation. That men shouldn't have this conversation because we don't have a badge. So we should let our little girls just go out here and men and women. If you don't know, a lot of these people are being snatched by women. Most of the time, men know she's 13. No. You're dodging now. You're the one came in here with all this vibrato, calling the police and making all these threats, and I'm allegedly some creep. You tell me, what do we do in this situation? Because it's happening all over the place. Come on. Educate us. We want to know. We're waiting on you. Give us, expound on one of your ideas and, give us some of your wisdom and insight. Impart some of your knowledge on us on what should we do with these kids who are running away right outside our doors. I should mind my business. I should let those men, talk to this little girl who I see out here. You think she's the only one? You know why they were slowing down, trying to, looking for that little girl? You have any idea why? Because she's black. She's dark skinned. Do we want to go down that road? Do we want to talk about the implications of dark skinned people and how dark skinned girls are looked at and perceived in this entire world? Should I even waste my time going through all the stigmas that black girls have on them from birth? I'm not even going to do it because your hands are fast. You're smarter than the rest of us. There's no need for me to re-educate you on black girls and the danger that they're constantly in. The hypersexuality of black girls. Sarah Bartman, Hottentot girls, Kadaki females. You know all of this, so why do I need to teach you anything? Because you're so bright. No TV or cell phones. Show her the morgue in Oregon. You know what? See, now that's an intelligible, of course it didn't come from him, but that is an intelligible response. So if you take two dogs, both the same breed, the same age, living in the same house under the same conditions, and you show a piece of meat to the dog, and you have a puppet that looks like the dog, and you wag the meat in front of the dog, and then the puppet hand grabs it, and then you take something, you hit the bam, don't do that, and then you take that piece of meat and show it to those other two dogs, they're not going to grab the meat. So sometimes you can, using Pavlov's, theory, you can pre-program somebody to react in a certain way. If you don't know who Pavlov is, look up Pavlov's dog. He was anyways, you guys are smarter than me. Look up Pavlov's dog. You'll know what I'm talking about. But what you can do, you can do that. You can say, look at these episodes. But the truth is, the 11 and 10-year-old children are smarter than we were when we were that age, because the world moves faster. They have more access to information than we ever did. Everything we knew, we didn't learn from social media. Our social media was our parents. Our social media was our neighborhood. If something was happening in another neighborhood, somebody from that neighborhood had to physically come and tell us about it. This is how we knew what neighborhoods to go to and what neighborhood not to go to, because our cousins or families lived in certain neighborhoods, so we knew it was safe for us and what wasn't. But these kids today, they don't have to worry about that, because they can look at Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, WhatsApp, and they can see what's going on. Yeah, because the world moved slower. It moved slower. So it was easier to control situations. But now the world is so quick, your little girl is going just like this. She's gone. And now you're sitting on pins and needles thinking, is she coming back or not? Did they screw her? Did they did they cut her up? Did they traumatize her? Is she gonna be missing limbs? Will she still recognize? There's just a myriad of situations that happen, can happen, and will happen if we sit back and just ignore the fact that this is real and this is now. This is not, you know what, in 10 years, these little girls, these 11-year-olds, they're going to be walking out. No, this is happening right now. And because they're girls and you're a man, don't you know it takes a village. The situation I was talking about out here with the little black girl, that little black girl has spoke to me before. She has. She'll look at me, I'll just look at her, and I'll keep going. One day she wanted me to chase her and her friends. I'm a grown ass man. And I was like, what are you doing? She was like, we was just playing. We wanted you to chase us. And I said, listen, honey, please don't do that. Don't do anything like that. Now I had to scold her because the world today has idiots like that who thinks because you communicated with some, I don't even know what her age is, then all of a sudden you're physically interested and all these things are happening when absolutely nothing's happening. So I have to protect myself while protecting her. And I cut it off right there. Boom. Don't talk to me. She ain't spoke to me since, but she'll see me. She sees me all the time. And I see her and I see what's going on around her. Now, if those guys approached her, I have two choices. I can mind my business, or I can, walk over to them, or call her over, or tell her to go in the house. My hands are fast. You tell me, what should I do? What should I do? My hands are fast. Mind my business? Because this is going to happen over and over and over again in every neighborhood, everywhere. This is happening constantly. What should I do? We shouldn't have to go back in time because men can't control hormones. See, that's what I mean. You're blaming this all on the men, but the men did not control this 11-year-old. They should ban TikTok. They should. They should do like, YouTube has done. You can't talk to. I tell you what, uh, I did a video about a little girl's mother who was taken away from us. This was years ago. A little girl is 14 now. She saw the video that I did about her mother. And mind you, she was a little, I don't know, maybe 5 or something. She saw the video and came onto my video and left a comment. She said, I just wanted you to know that I'm doing okay. And I tried to respond and say, I'm glad you're doing okay. I couldn't respond. We have to stop looking at only one aspect of the situation. And that's the truth and the whole truth. If you don't stop these girls and boys, because our boys are just important. Our boys are vital. You just can't have a bunch of girls running around and just don't give a damn about the boys. That is a mistake. We need these boys to grow up to be good men and continue protecting the neighborhoods. We don't need to alienate boys because we know that women are also in on this whole thing. Like I said, most of the time, school teachers are females who are getting caught and going to jail and doing this. And they're doing more. I mean, these females are off the chain. So cut it out with the men and the hormones because these mothers are married and they're doing the worst in these schools. But if you don't get to these kids, and even if you do get to them, you're not going to stop what's happening. You're not. I'll tell you, I watched it happen right in front of my eyes. My neighbor. And then the mother came to me. She didn't come to me. She was walking to her car. And we got to conversating. And her mother was, she did not know where her kid was. And I guess until you experience that, you're just going to be passe about it. You're going to be a social media warrior. But I've seen it. I've looked into the eyes of somebody who did not know where their child was. It will change you. It'll wake you up to the truth that it's not an isolated case and it's everywhere. And although men are always at risk of being blamed for something they didn't do, we still have to help where we can. So, once again, what should I do? I could mind my business, or I could step up and say something. But because of idiots like this, it's hard to make that judgment. It's hard to step in without people focusing on you and thinking that you're part of the problem when you're actually part of the solution. And I can give you all the numbers and educated hypothesis and, tell you where to look for these numbers, tell you all the organizations to look at, all the way up to the World Health Organization. I could show you theses. I could break it down to Medicaid, Medicare, to Obamacare, to all this stuff that I know. I can break it all down. But the simple fact is I'm a man, and I'm talking about children. Because I'm talking about children, I'm going to be the bad guy. It's your boy Tone.